Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Vortex Racing Network's production of Monday Night Mayhem. It's Championship Monday here live from Sparta, Kentucky at the Kentucky Motor Speedway. The Final Four have been targeted and narrowed down, and now they face off here this evening. Who will it be? Will it be defending champion and regular season champion Colin Bollinger? Will it be newcomer Grant Applegate? Will it be seasoned veteran Tony Iverson, who came up 1 second short last year? Or the dark horse Kevin Kyle, representing Sim and Destroy Racing? All the cards are on the table. We're just waiting for that last card to be flipped. Who ride in the booth tonight? Mean Gene Money, Zach Panzarella, bringing you all the action here on the Vortex Racing Network. Zach, I'm pumped. The crowd is pumped. How you feel?
Pumped is an understatement. Mangy and I could not be more excited to be here. It is championship weekend here in Kentucky. This is my favorite track on this server by far, and I love this Final Four we have here today. You just laid out the stage perfectly. We have a dark horse on screen right now. We have a guy who feels overdue for a championship, Tony Iverson, who has been so dominant in this slate, but he has not stood on top that final step of the podium, the championship step. And then you have the guy who just wins accidentally because he's just that damn good, and Colin Bollinger looking to go back to back today, and all the momentum is on his side. But then at the kind of a dark horse, but not so much a dark horse as he has a wild card, Grant Applegate. He had to work so hard just to be in this championship race, and here he is, Mean Gene. This is the most exciting group of four I've ever seen in the MRL Monday Night League, and this was the most talented roster we've ever had. So this is an elite group of drivers.
I mean, you're talking about exciting, and I think it really didn't get much more exciting than we saw last week at Michigan. 4 different drivers leading multiple laps, those 4 dicing. Tony Iverson, Colin Bollinger, Jordan Fisher doing battle up front, as well as Grant Applegate. Those guys led 27, 21, and 19 laps of that race. Add in a sprinkle of Kevin Kyle leading and winning a stage, and you end up with this fantastic 4, no pun intended. Cannot wait to see exactly how it's going to happen. Now, for those of you at home that do know, Kentucky Speedway was the favorite track and the home track of a longtime colleague of ours, Dennis Puckett. Dennis founded the Bonfire Race League, a sister league of the MRL, and unfortunately, we did lose Dennis earlier this year. This race, John Beverly and all of the MRL admins and officials would like to dedicate this race to the memory of Dennis Puckett. This man affected so many lives in a positive way, creating an environment that has carried over into multiple leagues. This is a community that he helped build all the way across the board with the Vortex Racing Network. And I know on behalf of myself as well, I want to give Dennis a huge thank you. I know he's looking down from the Angels right now, looking at us. Can't wait to see what'll happen tonight.
Yeah, man, Gene, this race absolutely dedicated to Dennis and the Puckett family. Always on the top of our minds whenever we visit this racetrack. And I am privileged enough to get to carry on the torch of that number 12 in leagues other than Bonfire. I get to write that number in the DDIRL as well as the MRL. And I brought this car to Victory Lane over in the previous broadcast, and then number 12, and I can genuinely say the first thing that came to my mind was Dennis Puckett, and I don't think I could have done it without Dennis Puckett. There's just something about driving that number 12 car at this racetrack. You feel like you have something special, and it definitely was an emotional moment crossing that finish line. I wish he was still with us. I wish he was here to see what this league had become. But at the same time, I'm just so proud of what he's helped us build. And like you said, none of this would even be 1 ounce possible without him. So just honored to be part of what can carry on the torch of what he's built. And I know we're to make him proud with a amazing race today at his favorite racetrack. And just very honored that we're going to be honoring Dennis Puckett and his family in this last race for the season here today.
And you know what? Kevin Kyle made this graphic for us. Thank you, Kevin. But I am so happy that he got the car in there as well. That Dennis ran that scheme for so long. Every time I was on the track, I would see that number 12 pop up in that purple, blue, and yellow scheme. That, I think, for those of us on the track with him, that encapsulates exactly who that man was to us, along with just the generous personality and demeanor that Dennis gave each and every person.
That really is a good point about Dennis, is whenever you saw that number 12 in your in front of you or in your rearview mirror, you thought, okay, let's do this. I have someone that I can trust, someone that's going to be fun to race and clean. And Dennis was just as courteous and gentlemanly and just class act of a race car driver as he was a human being. So it is great to see that race car again.
Yeah, it is. It is nice. So let's focus on the business at hand. 2.5 minutes left here in practice as we are getting ready to see these battles between these final four. Zach, I was fortunate enough to talk to a couple of the guys and see exactly what they thought. Coming into this, you got to think momentum, maybe Tony. Tony's been working with Jordan Fisher. I mean, shoot, you know, Jordan was just working with, doing a session at Kentucky in the Cup cars. You know who he was with?
Who was that?
This guy's over here with Conti regular Matt Busa.
Jeez.
This guy's working with a pro, a guy that's racing up in the Coca-Cola series. And what does he do? He puts the stats into his consortium of drivers, and there is the main culprit, the main beneficiary of the Speed Network, and that's going to be Tony Iverson running in that number 13. I know it looks like it, but that's not Alf in that little picture right there. That's actually Tony Iverson.
It's not a younger Axl Rose.
No, now think about it. Last year, Tony watched Colin win by 1 second.
Yes.
How painful was it for him to watch that?
Oh,
he came back. Wild start to the year, right, Zach? I mean, this guy was wearing a suit of armor with spikes.
Yeah, he had something lit under his rear end to start this season, and he also kind of Martin Truex last season, right? He said he would he won the battle, but he would not win the war, and Colin went out there and he won the war.
So this is a guy, and I think once he signed on with Fish Speed, you can see he's running the Fish Speed logo on that car. He's part of that factory now. I think we saw a more mature Tony. He still gives awesome interviews that, of course, push the limits of monetization, but a little bit more mature driver. I'm curious to see what is going to happen here tonight with Tony. What are we going to see? Are we going to see playoff Tony? Are we going to see regular season Tony? So a lot of what happens to Tony, his future lies in the brain and the mentality of Tony as this race develops in front of him.
I completely agree.
Yeah, this guy, I think he could win it. I think he's got the speed to win it, but I also think he's got the ability to hook Sean Walton and end his day on lap number 3.
That as well, and I think it's also a really good point you just made, that his attitude and his demeanor on track has kind of coincided with the color of his car. You're right. When he went into that new Fish Speed scheme, which is coincidentally blue, suddenly his attitude and his demeanor, his temper kind of went a little bit less red and more blue. He has been more chill since he's had Jordan Fisher in his ear.
So we'll just keep an eye and see how that is going to develop with him. Now, interesting story. You know he's a high side hustler, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Recently, he's had Jordan Fisher and championship contender Grant Applegate in that channel with him. As I look at Discord, because, you know, I like to peek. I like to stir the pot, you know. They're both still in that channel with each other. How does that affect you, Zach? You're going for a championship.
Ooh, interesting.
You got that guy there. Do you just jump out of the channel the last 5 laps?
I do. I jump out the first 5 laps, Benji, and I'm like, it really does set off, I think, their psyche a little bit, too, because I've been in these situations before, and I've been in the wrong end and the good end of them. And normally what I do when a championship competitor wants to be in the same Discord as me, I'll let them think that until the very last second, then I bail. I don't want help, and I don't need help from anyone outside my teammates.
Being the friend is an interesting concept when you're behind the wheel of the car. Joey Logano, infamous for being your buddy and then trying to kill you on the track. So, if you were in Discord with a driver doing a Joey Logano, you'd probably throttle him. Whereas if you weren't in Discord, you'd just think, okay, that makes sense. He's trying to win, and he's kind of a butthole. Now, here we go. We're looking at the number 14 out there qualifying, Grant Applegate. I want to call this guy the dentist. He missed 4 races,
on the
so
pole,
everything he did. Do what?
Preliminary poll right there for Grant Applegate.
Oh, everything he's done, he barely made the cut. And again, 4 races back. So he had to really push further and faster than anybody. Second highest driver rating in the series after he came in. But, round of 12, he was the last guy into 8. Round of 4, last guy in to 4. So this is the dentist. Not going to be a surprise if we see him claim his first year of the win. Talked with Grant before the race. I asked him, I said, what's it going to take to put that 14 up in championship lane? And he was very quick to talk about strategy and track position. We've heard the dirty air word all year long, but this is really a place where he was dialed in on that, said track position was going to be key, and running strategy as the race developed. I said, what strategy? And he got real quiet. So Grant keeping it close to the chest. Ooh, and here's Colin. This is another guy.
That was the second lap, Mean Gene, and that was just barely by the skin of Grant's teeth, who you're just talking about. Not enough, and these are massive qualifying laps, the biggest of your iRacing career easily right now, and Bullinger comes up barely short. But so far, this is looking very bad for Tony Iverson and Kevin Kyle.
Yeah, not getting the start, especially considering Grant talking about track position. Suddenly, Applegate and Bullinger up on that front row have to feel like they're going to have early control of this championship battle. 150 laps scheduled here today. Of course, lap number 75, there will be stage points awarded, but no caution. Those stage points more for the best of the rest championship. We'll talk about those guys
here we go, Main Gene.
Later.
Kevin Kyle out on track.
This is the moment of truth. Yep. Stem and destroy right here on the track, the 29 of Kevin Kyle.
This is a massive moment for the 29 of KK. He has been what we've called the dark horse all season, and really, I think one of the best ways for him to put himself in a good position to win this championship is to knock this out the park right now, Mean Gene. Kevin Kyle has been such a good qualifier the past month or so. We'll see if he can make it happen here at Kentucky. We've also talked a lot to our drivers about how much practice they're putting in, how much preparation for this race. You could assume that Bullinger is going to be riding his talent. He likes to kind of go with the flow. And a lot of drivers, that really is more advantageous than them practicing. That is not how the 29 approaches races. You know that Kevin Kyle has put in hundreds of laps in preparation for this one. So I'm excited to see what he can do in this qualifying lap. It looks like on that first lap, he is going to go for it, Mean Gene. This will not be a second lap qualifying effort.
Now, Kevin does have a little bit extra ammunition for tonight's race. He will have the double nickel Jared Kelly in his pocket. Jared will be spotting for him, so he'll have a little bit extra help, hopefully doing math about laps, keeping an eye on the rest of the field. Kevin Kyle, 30.288.
Oh, and qualifying ends, Mean Gene.
No second lap.
So he will start in 5th place, and here are our full results. I will pull up now, and this is a interesting qualifying order for a championship race, Mean Gene, because there's one guy here who is still lingering over everybody's head.
Jordan Fisher got the most wins on the season, did not choose to participate in the playoffs. But Jordan Fisher going to take the pole again here tonight at Kentucky. Joining him on the front row, Grant Applegate. Those two fellows are in Discord together, so we'll see. I know Fisher would love to get another win, and Grant can handle the rest of it behind him and still win a championship. Second row, Colin Bullinger, Alex Hillman. Colin needing basically a win here today with the speed of Applegate, Iverson, and Kyle Bullinger the 53 starting in third. Alex Hillman, DDI driver, gonna start outside row 2. The 08 would love to play spoiler and make this a Newman championship. Kevin Kyle gonna start on the third row in 5th. That number 29, Simon Destroy, gonna need a win here today. Steve Lewis leading the best of the rest, starting in 6th. Good for Louis. Joe Volpus almost made the final 4, came up a tad short. Gonna start in 7th. Sean Walton, fastest car in practice, teammate of Colin Bollinger, gonna start in 8th. Dylan Tibbett, 2nd place last weekend. The 44 Taco Bell Toyota, gonna be ready to do battle here at Kentucky. And rounding off the top 10, Dalton Geyer, the number 36, came up a tad bit short. Had a shot on that restart, but now he's watching the boys battle here at Kentucky.
Yeah, Dalton Geyer going to be rounding out our top 10. 11th place will be Matt Novella. He recently parked in Victory Lane over in the MRL Friday night. See if he can keep that same momentum here. In 12th place will be former champion Jack Sanders. He'll be up from the outside looking in, starting in 12th. 13th will be Eric Gambrell. Recently got his first win over in the Bonfire Race League. And then 14th, the last starting championship contender will be Tony Iverson. 15th will be John Beverly. 16th, Zach Lawson. And rounding out a 17-car field will be Hunter Hall. And we have one thing left to do, and it's going to be for the last time this season. And this is always such a bittersweet moment, Mean Gene, every season.
Pump it up.
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports, the star of Universal Pictures movie, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, Kevin James.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Thank you, Mr. James, all season for your work, as he does every season, and a familiar sight up front. The only thing missing is one of our championship contenders, Mean Gene, but I don't think it'll be long until we see him up front. But here we go, championship race.
Pace car going to bring him around 4, waiting for him to pull off. Pace car out of the way. Fisher, Applegate on the front row. Applegate battling for a championship. Bowling 2nd row behind him. Kyle 3rd row behind them. Flagman waits. Away we go. Jordan Fisher not going. Applegate on the outside, stays side by side. The 53 of Bollinger right up the backside of the 39 of Fisher. Now Fisher with momentum. Applegate on his traditional outside lane, rolling faster, more speed than the 53. Back stretched, we see Fisher, Applegate, Bollinger. Applegate now going back down low, risking the dirty air behind the 39. Fisher hugs the apron, coming out of 4, still in the lead. Zach, the 39, going to lead lap number 1 here at the Championship Monday.
Jordan Fisher doing what he does best, which is dominate races and stay up front. Great start from him. Applegate tried to use the outside lane to carry momentum. Wasn't good enough to get Fisher, but was good enough to hold off his championship contender of Bollinger. One thing that drivers like Applegate have to keep in the back of his mind all day today is that you are not racing Jordan Fisher for a championship. It's that car behind you, the 53 of Bollinger, and Kevin Kyle, who's already worked up to 4th place. Great stuff.
Back in the back.
And it's, oh, no,
Looks like
it looks like it's Tony Iverson. Mean Gene,
Iverson caught. It looked like Dalton Geyer started to blink. He then inserted himself right into the backside of Sean Walton. Cars got loose. Iverson rolling. We're going to have to look at the damage.
Oh no, Mean Gene, we have never seen this on the Monday Night
Look at
MRL
the
League.
blinky.
Yeah, watch
Blinky,
the blinky.
blinky.
Oh, where'd he go? And oh boy, this is a long one. There he is, showing back up, and I'm assuming there's gonna be one more blink, Mean Gene. That's my guess, and I think Lewis might be the victim here. Let's go.
No, it'll what? It's developing. Watch what happen.
Okay.
Louis saw it. Louis hit the brakes.
And there goes Dalton. Oh my goodness, you called it.
And then where you don't know.
Oh,
like right here,
and
you
look
don't
at
know
Walton being turned.
by the invisible car.
Mean Gene, that could be a little bit of payback from last week.
Look at Jack Sanders up against the wall behind them like, nope, I'm
And
out.
cameras on Tony Iverson, our championship contender. Oh my goodness, Walton shunts Jack Sanders. Sanders will be done for the day. That was a massive hit. I think Walton maybe as well. And it honestly looks like so far so good for the 13 of Iverson. Maybe just grabbed a handful of break, Mean Gene, and that is exactly what he did. That looked worse than it was for our championship contender of Tony Iverson, but it definitely looked as bad as it was, I believe, for the 6-7 of Sean Walton.
13 cars gonna stay out. Tony Iverson choosing to stay out. As we heard the drivers talk about track position earlier, Tony gonna risk it. No contact.
That will be
very
Walton's
unfortunate.
Day.
Yeah, Walton not gonna be happy with that. Waiting to hear from the pit crew as far as if he's going to continue or not. No word as of yet. Jordan Fisher still out into the lead. Grant Applegate behind him. Colin Bollinger top 3 holding serve. But then behind them, look at that. Hillman dropped a couple of spots, so that's going to move Kevin Kyle up into 4th. So Kyle going to move from inside the 3rd row to outside the 2nd row. Joining him up there, Joe Vulpes. The next row going to be some DDI guys. You can see Hillman and Geyer. There's Lewis, Novella, Zach Clausen with an early strong flex up 6 spots into 10th.
Coming in the pits is
behind
Tibbetts.
him, you can see Hunter Hall. Yeah, Tibbetts back in.
Mean Gene, are you seeing that smoke
car
out of
looks
4
okay
as well? Like, are you seeing it every? Like, I'm seeing it every lap. I'm wondering if there's some dirty debris on the track, maybe some debris from the ARCA race. I don't know, but definitely precarious over in 3 and 4. I'm definitely noticing some smoke, and I am shocked to see what I'm seeing. Yeah, I am absolutely shocked to see what I'm seeing on the bottom of our screen right now. Oh, and he parks it in front of Geyer. This is ugly for a championship race, and right above them is Tony Iverson.
And so is Beverly, who just saw that.
Oh,
Beverly, the commissioner's like, boys.
Won't be surprised if we see a few vanishing cars for different reasons in a minute or two, Mean Gene. But Sean Walton clearly not happy with Dalton Geyer. I think there may have been some leftover feelings from last week. Dalton Geyer, I think maybe might feel like he should be racing for a championship right now, and we don't have to revisit that because we have a championship to focus on, but clearly it is not over between Geyer and Walton. And if you are Tony Iverson, I think you're thinking, oh my goodness, I need to get through the field as soon as possible and get away from these guys.
Yeah, and I do feel bad for Dalton, not about last week, but this week, because he was blinking, and so there might be confusion whether that was a receipt or just
right. He'll have to do it again, so he knows.
Yeah, you want him to know it was a receipt. Pace car out of the way. Jordan Fisher on the inside has control. Applegate with him. Look at Applegate, kind of almost half a car length back. Half a car's legal, though. Away we go. Good start there. Fisher, Applegate in Discord together. Inside, Lang. Now you can see Fisher bring it up in front of Applegate. They're racing hard. That's not team up. That's not teaming up together. Fisher on the apron. Here comes Applegate. Bollinger, Kevin Kyle. So 2, 3, and 4th positions, all championship drivers. Where's Iverson? He's in 10th. Up 4 spots from that bad lap that he had qualifying. Meanwhile, looks like Fisher going to lead another lap. Now,
as Bollinger collects the wall.
Where's Sean Walton, you might ask? Well, he's back there in the rear of the field, trying to keep it under him. Looks like he's a little bit off the pace, though.
Yeah, I think it's hard when you're trying to aim a sniper rifle through the windshield of your car to also be fast, but Walton doing his best. And I honestly, Mean Gene, I'm going to disagree with you on that restart. I think that was a little bit of an okie dokie between Fisher and Applegate there. I don't know why, and the only reason I'm going to say this is I don't know why else Applegate would want to sag back so badly. That is very risky. And the only reason you'd normally do that is if you know exactly what the car next to you is going to do. Is if he's counting you down so you can go with him, you do want him a little bit in front of you so you can file in behind him, control that bottom lane exactly like they did. So I do wonder, Mean Gene, if Fisher is here kind of playing a little bit of bodyguard.
I don't know. The way, though, that Fisher cut up the track in front of him, gave him that dirty air on entry, makes me curious.
Yeah.
I know for me, I'd like to hang back that full half car length that I can get away with on a restart. That way, if you choose to go at the last minute of that restart zone, I'm not guessing when you're going to go.
Right.
You have no other where to go, and that's when I can put that half car to advantage. Is right there. In Applegate, this guy's won stages. We've seen him lay down fastest laps. So this is a guy that can get you right there on that restart. Fisher, though, pro, ends up holding it, gives the dirty air to Applegate, and now has a nice little 0.6 of a second lead here at the beginning of lap number 10. Fisher, Applegate, Bollinger, Kevin, Kyle, 3 of the championship 4 still up at the front. Meanwhile, Iverson moving up another position, getting by Steve Lewis. So he's in 8, but 2.68 seconds back. Not falling off, but you know how tires go. They creep. They creep here.
It's a really good point, me and Gene. If we, never focus on Dalton Geyer. That's rule number 1. Yep. But that is a big point. If we were to stay green, we already did see our first caution, but if we did somehow stay green for the remainder of this race, that is what can really hurt you, is just the virtue of working through this traffic and how far back you can fall. As you see, Iverson now 2.7 behind those leaders of Fisher and Applegate. So Iverson has to either hope for a caution or at least make sure he's getting these positions to make these restarts easier for himself. Would not be surprised as well, me and Gene, to see Iverson maybe go for an undercut here on this first pit stop.
And let's take a moment of silence here on lap 12 in memory of Dennis Puckett. You're loved and you are missed, my friend.
Yeah, and it's only going to be a couple laps until we'll be going quiet again. Me and Gene, just a tragic week as well this week for the auto racing community with the loss of Greg Biffle. So lap 16 will be going quiet as well, but we miss Dennis so much. It still feels like it was this week.
Yeah, it's something you don't get used to. You share something so closely with other people, and it just becomes part of you. And, seeing that number 12 car again, it had been a while since I saw that car. But to me, even when I see an 18-wheeler bringing the chips to the grocery store, I think of Dennis. That was his car.
No,
I was like, oh, yeah, there he is. That's him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing the emotions that can come back just simply from a visual like that. Up front, still the top 5 drivers. Looks like Joe Volpus has gotten by Kevin Kyle. Those two having a little bit of fun with each other. As you can see there, though, Volpus managed to get by. Now has a nice little 0.6 of a second lead. Kevin fading, but could be tire saving, could be gas. Kevin said it was going to take a perfect race and some strap for him to pull this off. And here we are coming up on 16. Let's go ahead and take a moment of silence for Greg Biffle. Single file racing throughout most of the field. Little bit of activity between Clausen and Hunter Hall deeper in there. Hall finally does manage to make it around Clausen, pulling up now on the 01 of Beverly, trying to look below him as well. So great racing right now out of Hunter Hall. Ooh, got a little loosey-goosey.
Dolphus dunking his donuts into the wall right there a little bit on the exit of 4. We saw that be the problematic corner just earlier in the ARCA race. And here we are in a hotter condition. It appears that we raced through the night over in the ARCA League, me and Gene. We have now gotten to the early morning, so no sleep for the wicked, especially for guys like Eric Gambrill. But here we are. As you see these guys with a whole new set of struggles than the ARCA guys were dealing with. It looks like a very tight racetrack, me and Gene.
Yeah, we kind of expected that out of these Cup cars, and with the dirty air, going to make it real difficult. I think Grant Applegate, talking from experience about track position, one of the other things he said was that first practice session he had, he hated this track. Second one, he was okay with it and felt good. So hopefully these guys have a few practice laps in their saddlebag as we're making our way around here. Lap number 19 here at Kentucky.
And now we see two of our championship contenders, two of the Final Four racing each other. Tony Iverson doing quite the opposite of Kevin Kyle right now. Kevin Kyle started this race in 5th place. He worked his way up to 4th, and he has since fallen off. He has now fallen down to 7th place as Iverson easily completes that pass on the 29 race car. We've seen this type of thing from Kevin Kyle in the past, so it's hard to question him, Mean Gene. He is here, after all, racing for a championship. A KK not showing a ton of early speed or maybe even long run speed, maybe something up his sleeve here as we go into the latter end of this run. One thing that I'm thinking about, Mean Gene, and I'm going to go ahead and say that I doubt it, but I am very much speculating, but I wonder if that early caution changed anything for these guys.
Yeah, we saw earlier in the DDI Racing League ARCA series where fuel strategy did come into effect, but there was no caution there. So those guys had to be counting backwards almost from the very beginning of that race.
7 years ago, yeah.
Little bit of calculation having to be done as we've had the one caution. Now, who does that play into the hands of? You have to think about Kevin Kyle, who's got Jared Kelly in his pit doing math for him, but also Jordan Fisher, who has Chris Lewis. So two of the guys running here tonight do have full-time crew chiefs keeping track and doing math. Chris Lewis has proved he can get the job done, multiple wins for Fisher on the season, and Jared Kelly, multiple wins in his pocket, a guy that definitely knows how to find victory lane, working with Kevin here today. So looking forward to seeing exactly how it transpires. But you're right. Is this some kind of strategy by Kevin? But at some point, you can't just let this field drive away. The gap at this moment is going to be almost 4 seconds. So when do you have to start feeling that sense of urgency? I would think as the pit stops start to develop, you got to make a decision.
I completely agree, Mean Gene. I think you're going to have to make your bed maybe a little bit earlier than you'd like to, and you'll be sleeping in it for more than an hour, but you're going to have to do something to counteract all this time you've lost, even if you're Tony Iverson or Kevin Kyle right now. Great point. They are more than 3 seconds behind the leader of Fisher. And then the guy who would win the championship right now would be Applegate, and they're about 3 seconds behind him. As you see Iverson getting a little bit tight out of 4 there, grazing the wall. No damage, it does not appear. So that will be something very interesting to follow here, Mean Gene. And these guys are going to have to try to stay on top of this race. Because you're right, that caution never came in the DDIRL today to save the guys who maybe were hoping for it and weren't counting backwards. And it did take that. I started counting backwards at around lap, I think 40 with 7 to go, and I crossed the finish line with 0.2 laps of gas left. So if I had done it a lap later, I may not have made it. So these are a lot of things are going through these guys' mind. This is looking like a largely green flag race. Another thing I like that you brought up is how important having a dedicated crew chief and spotter is going to be today. We know that guys like Fisher have it. Applegate may. If he doesn't have a dedicated crew chief, he will have Fisher's. He'll have Fisher with him. They'll be getting that same information. And we also know that there is some assistance over for Kevin Kyle with Jared Kelly. I'm a little bit surprised.
Applegate, look at Applegate in 53. Go to 53 and 14.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, and sorry, I was going to say a little bit surprised. I guess Walton's still showing a good amount of speed. He is not off the pace at all, but if Walton had parked it, then I think Bollinger would have had one, right? So interesting development there.
Yeah, they're not in Discord together, though.
Oh, they aren't. My apologies, then.
No, they usually are. But tonight, Colin all by himself. This is really fascinating, the battle we're watching develop between these two. Colin's got all the way up his tail. Could have spun him, let off. Now he's going to look on the inside. But if anybody can make that outside work, it's that 14. Look at the pinch.
Wow.
53 brings him all the way up, denies entry. But now here comes that outside speed of Applegate. 53 going to slide up. Whoa. And here's contact.
Yeah, it's lap 28, and we're already mixing it up. Me and Gene, Colin Bollinger, and that typical 53 fashion, shuts the door right on exit, but he always knows when he has a paper width margin, and he hits the wall on exit of 4. That will open the gate for Applegate, but as we know, Mean Gene, Applegate seems to prefer the top. Where will we go here?
Well, has to choose that bottom for a moment, but maybe he learned a little bit something. It seems like outside is easier to make the pass most of the time. We did see the 53 make it work. Colin able to go in deep into the turns. And look at this. Now it's Colin choosing a little higher line.
Yep.
But that's only for entry. And now
backed it
look
up.
at the closing speed.
Watch
Wow.
this run. Watch this run by the 53, Mean Gene. He backed up that corner. He parked it on entry. He's going to have a big run on the entry of 1 and 2. But one thing about this corner, it is so hard to complete a pass, and it looks as if Bollinger is stronger through 3 and 4, so he doesn't want to waste it through 1 and 2. The whole goal here should be to set him up through 3 and 4, and that's exactly what that 53 is trying to do. And like we talked about a couple laps ago, Mean Gene. Oh, caution's out. Caution's out. And it looks as if, oh, no! Oh, no!
It's not Kevin Kyle, is it?
It's Mean Gene. Okay, we're in this together. Here we go. You ready?
All right.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Mean Gene. Oh no!
That is 2 championship contenders right there. Radio's silent. Iverson is smoking, bringing it into the pits. That car is broke.
Zach silent. Mean Gene. Okay, we're gonna be looking at this one for years. This is a lack of being dramatic.
It looked like, I don't know. I mean, I'm over here.
We got to look at this. And
finally, we have communication on the radio. It's Sean Walton saying, "Lucky dog, lucky dog, lucky dog." Everybody's staring at him angry.
That's what we need to hear.
Wow, look at the smoke coming out of the 13. That's a fire. Go to the 13.
Oh, it was. I saw
on
that.
fire.
It was on fire. I saw that, Mean Gene.
Snap.
And here's the wreck.
Dude,
This is this is not me trying to be a fence walker, Mean Gene, but this feels like a racing incident. I think Tony Iverson could have let off more. We'll go in his cockpit after this, but it looks like he tried to drive through Kevin Kyle, and it ended up costing him. Oh no! At the risk of sounding dramatic, Mean Gene, this is one of the most historic wrecks in the league's history.
Yeah, I mean, when you come down to the final 4, and all of a sudden, look, it just comes up a little bit more than he wanted to.
Tony's not driving through him. He's off the gas. I think the damage was done. We'll go on board with Tony Iverson here. This is an unbelievable development here, and this is the view from the 13.
Kevin came down early and Tony went up late.
He's off the gas. He's trying, and it was over. It was over the second they made contact on exit, Mean Gene. Watch the wheel of Iverson here. The second they make contact, it is over for both drivers. There's nothing they can do. Iverson is trying to fix this. Watch this. Right here. He is completely just doing anything he can, and it was over before you could blink. And that was another championship for the 13. He has worked so hard. He has put together such a great year. And as Mean Gene alluded to, you will see a fire right there below the passenger side front. That car is on fire. There is no fast repair. Tony Iverson will not win the 2025 MRL Cup Series Championship.
Yeah, you got to feel for Tony right there, pushing as hard as he could, trying to make up for a bad starting position. Early calamity also in that wreck that occurred with Walton and Geyer trying to get his way back up to the front. It looked like Kevin just came in low and Tony exited high, and can't have 2 people in the same spot at the same time.
No, and a big thing about Kentucky too, Mean Gene, is we saw it in ARCA too. A lot of people, try to kind of slot car the corners, while others will kind of diamond it, right? They'll park it up in mid corner and then they'll drive back down the exit. Kevin Kyle was running that diamond line, while you saw kind of Iverson, like he always does, able to hug that bottom, and the 2 lines just did not mix and they came together at the wrong time.
Well, Kevin Kyle still rolling down 5 spots though.
He looks fine,
in 10th. Yeah, he looks okay. 14 cars on the lead lap. Walton did get his lucky dog back. We'll see if Walton got a little bit more repair. He was in that pit for 34 seconds. That's about as long as he could go without getting into it.
There's a look at the rear of Kevin Kyle. That is where he hit the wall. So looking at his pits, he had a standard pit stop, Mean Gene. So looks like Kevin Kyle dodged a bullet there and that struck Tony Iverson straight in the chest.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Tony.
We'll try to get him for an interview before or maybe our next caution. We'll give him a chance to cool off.
We got to check in with him. Yeah, we got to check in with him and make sure.
Let him the care center too.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to get checked out. All right, pace car out of the way. We're here on lap number 33. Remember, lap 75 will award points, but that's really for the battle between Hunter Hall and Steve Lewis. The coming to the restart.
That same gap, Mean Gene.
Jordan Fisher on the inside. Away we go. Oh, that time he fooled Applegate. Got a good start. Bollinger still at the quarter of Applegate. Still at the quarter. Applegate goosing the momentum. Now he's at the door side by side. Expect the 14 to have better exit speed. There he goes. Up front now, Fisher with a 0.3 of a second lead going down the back stretch. Applegate clear the 53. Gets great entry into 3 and 4. But it's still Jordan Fisher leading every lap here at Kentucky. Gonna lead lap number 34 as well. Then Applegate, Bollinger battling for a championship. Kevin Kyle milking a broken car. I think it is a little loose. Look at Beverly shoot under him.
Yeah, Kyle does not seem to have any confidence in that 29 race car. Mean Gene, I think you are on to something there. Not just that, you see him kind of hugging the top, similar to the Walton behind him. Another injured race car is that 6-7 of Walton. There goes Kyle trying to, I think, maybe learn a little bit about that Ford right there and see if it can hang, or I'm sorry, that Chevy, and see if it can hang and see if he can trust it through these corners. So far, it could be worse for Kyle. I think he needs one more pit stop. And also interesting where that caution fell, Mean Gene. I think that was pretty close to where these guys are going to be looking to come in regardless.
Yeah, and that caution, of course, going to change pit strategy. You can imagine Chris Lewis and Jared Kelly busting out the calculator and Grant Applegate doing math, as is Kevin Kyle, in their strategy book on how to win. You know, something I love about Dalton Geyer blinking out periodically, it throws off my telemetry. Did you know he had a top speed of 477 mile an hour that last lap?
That's just my coaching, Mean Gene.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's just, I've taught him that. He was only able to hit about like 405 before, but now hitting those nice solid speeds of 415 miles per hour around here at Kentucky.
Yeah, they're going to do something about that. Meanwhile, look in the pit. Eric Gambrell, the 46, also not
He's been there for
far,
a while, Mean Gene. He's been there since the first wreck. I think we may have missed something.
Maybe he had to,
and that
he
fire,
had to walk his dog.
That fire is still going.
Yeah, Tony's going to let it burn.
Okay,
I think he's standing outside the car right now.
Screaming.
With the pew-pew. And he's like, no, y'all let this burn. We're going to burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
No one's coming near it. And he's in California, so for him to be able to do that, you know he's serious.
Looking like the Undertaker back in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. He's taking it down. Good battling. Look at, oh my, look at Bollinger, and now Volpa slowly creeping up. Joe was catching up to that lead group earlier, had late run speed, but now after pitting on 31, 8 laps into this thing, Volpus creeping up a lot sooner than he did before. I think maybe Joe had more tire at the end of the run than he thought he would, and so he's willing to go a little bit faster earlier in the run. And, you know, wouldn't it be nice if that 11 in his camp to get the win after barely missing out? He'd love to be the Newman of the group, and you get your championship, but I won the race, and we all know the truth.
Oh, yeah.
We know what would happen.
I think that's an astute observation about why Volpus is so fast in this short run. I think that's exactly what we're seeing right now. But not just that, Mean Gene. I'm sure he not only would love to be racing for a championship here, but feels like he belongs in this championship race. But not just that. I think this guy, as I can tell by the way he smelled champagne when I saw him earlier before the race, he is still very hungover from his championship win over on Thursday. He is the Truck Series MRL champion. So Joseph Volpus is riding a high right now, and not just that, Mean Gene. That was granted, you know, in trucks, but it was here. It was here, and Volpus did not do a Newman championship for that one. He went out and won the damn thing, and now here he is showing that same speed. So it's always dangerous to see a fast Joseph Volpus in what could potentially be a a fuel race. But you know what's even scarier than that, Mean Gene, is a confident and fast Joseph Volpes.
You can see right there the 53 changing his angle to get a charge on Applegate. Going to look below him right now. But if he rolls it too far back, he'll have the 11 eat him up. Now Applegate and Bollinger. Now, this is what we saw in the DDI Race League. What Bollinger's trying to do right here, that'll cost you a position. You got to be very cautious about just poking it on the inside like that when you don't have any momentum. You know, you and I talked about that earlier, looking at drivers trying to make a temporary move that just costs both guys speed.
Right.
I think for the 53, he's going to need to find the spot where he can either do that crossover or come in late high and then roll it, though the slot car, as you like to call it. But just diving it down and not clearing, that's going to roll you backwards.
And I wonder what Bollinger's game plan is right now, right? So you have Kevin Kyle 4 seconds behind you with a pretty injured race car, it seems. Tony Iverson, the reason why you keep seeing smoke on the front stretch is because they haven't put the fire out yet. So I don't think they have to worry about the 13 too much. So is he even caring about Joseph Volpes? Or is he just thinking, I'm going to send this thing in deep, I'm going to cut the 14's nose off, I'm going to throw a slide job, and I'm going to give him all the dirty air that I'm so sick of dealing with? And if that means that Joseph Volpes passes me, I don't care, because I'm not risking it for a championship.
Well, I'll tell you who would love to hear all of that come to fruition. That'd
Kevin
be the
Kyle.
29 of Kevin Kyle.
Hey, what is it? Race, boys, race.
That's what he wants. You know, the end of last week at Michigan, that's what he said. He said, what do you need? He said, egos to win the day.
One and a half so far.
Right now, though, yeah, we saw the 53 and the 14 get into it a little bit early. Colin, though, discretion was the better part of valor, backed off, let Grant keep the position. But here we are again. How long can the 53 be content? That sense of urgency will begin to rise. We're only on lap number 46 of 150, but I think, 105 laps left. It'll get a little more intense as we go. Field mostly single file, only 14 cars on the lead lap. So the chances of a caution are going to go down, and the necessity for a risky move is going to go up.
It will, Mean Gene, and we talk about this all the time about who we're on board with right now, specifically that 53 of Colin Bollinger. If I was his competitor, I'd worry about him all the time, but I worry about him a lot more when suddenly he's in the top 3 with 40 to go, right? And he'd been, so we see the lights go on from the POV of Colin Bollinger, always a very trippy moment as a race car driver. But how often do we see Colin Bollinger, running the top 7 until all of a sudden he's in a podium position with 20, 30 to go, and then he gets his way to the lead, and then it's lights out, and he wins by 4 seconds. And so if I'm Applegate right now, I do have that in the back of my mind. What the hell is this guy learning from watching me? What don't I want to show him? Right? Like, do I want to be a little bit tricky with my lines here? Do I not want to show him something that I have in my back pocket maybe for later in this race? Because Bollinger is a student. He's going to learn everything he watches you, and he's going to learn how to beat you.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch the journey of Colin Bollinger this year. Last year, so fast, we saw him have some incidents with drivers, but at the end, Colin was basically able to get a second or a 2-second lead and just live there. This year, not so much. The appearance of Fisher and Applegate, the resurgence of Tony Iverson during the playoffs and the regular season, and then the scattered wins of other drivers as well, changed the flavor of season 5 versus Bollinger's season 4 championship. So this year we've seen Colin have to play a different role, and as you said, become a student of the game and pay attention to who he's passing. Meanwhile, oh my,
will Fisher get this up, or will Applegate have to earn it the hard way, side by side through 1 and 2? This will absolutely slow down both race cars. This will let Bollinger easily fill in the gap. You already see he's already at 100th within them, and oh my goodness, what an aggressive move by Jordan Fisher to cut the nose off of Applegate, murders his entry and exit, and I think this will be easy for the 14.
Yeah, 14 finally does make it around the outside, gets back down on that apron, trying to find the shortest distance between 2 points. But look,
this is 1 and 2.
Not done. Here's Fisher going low, 1 and 2. You want to go low. Applegate
you do, Mean Gene.
Trying to use the entry speed. Fisher at the quarter. Fisher at the door. Doesn't deny entry. That's going to let Applegate roll.
Put
Watch
the squeeze
Applegate
on,
pull
Grant.
away.
There's the squeeze, Mean Gene. Oh, not too big of a hit of the wall. Not seeing any significant damage. He needs to hit 1 and 2 here. 1 and 2 at Kentucky, a very unique corner, Mean Gene. We talked a little bit about in a restart as Applegate misses it again. We'll see if, that's actually a nice line as he goes down in front of the wake of Fisher trying to throw some dirty air on that 39 race car. It does work, but just like you and I speculated about, look who this let join the party who wasn't invited, and it's Colin Bollinger. But yeah, back to 1 and 2, Mean Gene. Really only on the restart is where that outside lane will be advantageous to you. It's one of the few corners where this deep in the run where the tires are kind of starting to give you a hard time, there really isn't a lot of advantage to be gained on the bottom or on the top there. It doesn't give you that runoff speed. We'll watch it here with Bollinger. It just makes it the longer way around the corner.
Yeah, this is insane right now, letting Colin back into this thing. Both these guys want to win, but, that was a constant also of Applegate all year. Not content to just ride around. He didn't want to wait until the last 5 laps of the race to make something happen. Do it early. Do it in the middle. Do it at the end. That's going to let the drivers become accustomed to the style of what's going to happen, so it's constant. No surprises. Here again. Now look, it's Fisher falling victim. If he can't make this pass clean, look at the 53. Just click back in. 14 has a better entry. He's going to roll a little better. And watch the 53 close that gap.
He's got to enter lower, Mean Gene. The 14 of Applegate has got to enter the corner lower, especially 1 and 2. He was just giving Jordan Fisher all the room in the world. And I believe it was Fernando Alonso who said it, like, or either him or Senna, like, if there's a gap, I'm going to take it, like, if gap, go. And he's just giving him a stratosphere of room to work with. We've talked so much. We've heard these drivers complain so much about dirty air. When you are in the lead, you need to be taking that to your advantage. You need to be using that. You can, even if you don't want to run the bottom, if that's where Fisher wants to run the bottom. Make his life miserable. Whatever it takes to make that not easy for the 39 of Fisher. Applegate needs to figure out. There he is again, Mean Gene, missing the bottom entirely. Look at what that opens up for that 39, and he's not going to have a lack of runoff here.
No, tap the wall. The race continues. Also, I think you named some lesser known drivers with that quote, but David Brenner also said if gap then fill. David Brenner of course
very
a
popular
BRL
t-shirt,
champion,
one of the best selling t-shirts in the world. Yes.
So yeah, you got to go to the 22. Get his diecast right now over on Liddell. It's available.
And what I think Bollinger right now is trying to figure out, Mean Gene, is he's kind of, I think, in his own head a tiny bit, and I think, wow,
Let's dance.
That was like, this door is shut, sir. Sorry, we are closed. Jordan Fisher not giving anything to Bollinger, and that really compounds what I was about to say. I think Bollinger right now is trying to figure out, are these dudes working together or not? Do I need to find my clean air to work around both of them, or can I work with Fisher here? And I think he just got his answer.
Yeah, Fisher wants to win. That's something that this guy has said from the beginning. He'll help you get as fast as humanly possible. But once that flag drops, once that light is green, it's game time. It's game time. He's not going to run you dirty, but he's going to run you hard. He wants to make sure he gets as many wins as possible, and nothing feels better than getting a win against some fast dudes. And that's exactly what we're seeing right here. Applegate and Fisher, fast dudes. Colin, defending champion, fast dude. See there, Fisher didn't spin him, that because he could have. Did you see the speed he had going into that turn? He was right on that left rear.
One thing I can't believe as well is, maybe this is just my lack of experience in this next-gen car, to be entirely transparent. As both, Tanker Nice wall hits right there. That was a very beautiful motion by all 3 cars, just showing off their talent.
Boom, boom.
But watch how low Fisher goes if he does it again here. As much as I'm criticizing Applegate, Fisher's going too low. You should not You should not be hitting that apron. Do you see how loose he got that car? But you know what I think that might be, Mean Gene? Sometimes when you hit that apron, it kind of upsets the... Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Yellow flag.
Mean Gene, this is like Fight Club and 7 and all the twists put together. What the hell is going on? This is Lion King out here. Tiger King, sorry. It's on fire also.
Colin came on the radio and apologized, said he was trying to side draft and it sucked him in.
That is, I looked like another racing incident. Again, you and I just being, or me, I should say, being very bold and brave about my takes on this, but this looked very understandable. They're racing hard, Mean Gene. Here we go. Bollinger, yeah, I mean, Bollinger is right on his assessment of the situation. That was a very late side draft, Mean Gene.
Yeah, and he's just denying entry.
Yeah, the job was done, right? Like, let's go back a little bit again real quick. Look at this right here, Mean Gene, and this is why I'm gonna kind of give Bollinger a tiny bit of blame here. But hey, he won't be the first championship driver to have been involved. So right here, Mean Gene, I think the job is done, is it not? Look at that angle. You have Fisher pinned to the top. You have your angle. I don't think you need to do much more here. But instead, we continue to go up the track, and boy, oh boy, that could not have gone worse for Jordan Fisher, could it have?
No, and the fire starts immediately. The 39, such a strong year, wanted to finish this thing out. You know, if Fisher would have won this race, then there would have been a lovely asterisk.
Yes, there would have.
Above whoever won the championship. Because Fisher would have qualified on points and wins, and then would have advanced on wins every stage, every elimination round. So that will take the asterisk off of this championship.
That's how quick it happens, Mean Gene. Like, he didn't have a chance in hell of saving this race car. Look at just how fast this happens. You can't even see Colin. Man. And you could obviously assume that Fisher did turn in a little bit there, and again, similar to Iverson and KK, just the wrong place, wrong time for two drivers and one driver. I mean, I would love to see Fisher competing for a win here again, but I guess luckily for the championship's sake, not another championship driver, but horrible to see Jordan Fisher go out that way in this race.
Yeah, we saw something similar happen a couple of weeks ago with Applegate and Bollinger.
Yes.
You remember Applegate hit the wall and Bollinger, every driver, I'm not going to say Colin, every driver, if you deny entry to the corner, you're going to roll out better. You know, they have to let the speed off. They have to get a shallow entry. And that's just kind of a thing we've seen across every league by fast drivers. And once Jordan had already made the move to start cutting down, and then the closing speed of Colin got those guys kind of on that same trajectory, and then net code, it'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, Mean Gene, and also just it's so hard to pass here at Kentucky, and you really, I mean, I think that's why we're seeing these type of things happen. These drivers, they need to take every millimeter they can get, and I think that's what happened there. I'm not going to put too much blame on either driver there. This is an important race for both, and they couldn't give an inch, and they didn't, and sometimes that's what happens. But back to the situation at hand, I think it'd be easy to say, Hunter Hall, what the hell are you doing? It's a championship race, but like you have brought up a couple times today, Mean Gene, he's also racing for something, and we're only 7 laps away from it. I'm sorry, we're only about 11 laps away from it.
Yeah, Hunter Hall came into this 7 points behind Steve Lewis for the best of the rest. So Hunter Hall's now led a lap. So he's 6 points behind Steve Lewis for best of the rest. Lewis is in 12th. Hunter Hall's in first. If this thing ended right now, Hunter Hall wins best of the rest. So he's hoping for a quick caution.
Some stage points too, potentially.
Goes. Yeah, if he holds on for the stage. All right, pace car out of the way. We're going to roll into the Geico restart zone. Hall goes immediately.
Very nice.
Fools everybody. Outside lane, Applegate. Bollinger on the inside. Joe Volpus fourth. Alex Hillman fifth. Side by side, Kyle and Dalton Guile battling for 6 and 7. Hall now with momentum on those older tires.
Ooh.
Everybody else took tires on 61. 30 lap olders is what Hunter Hall is rolling with up in that number 26 Chevrolet. Getting loose on the outside, trying to hold the lane, cannot do it. There goes Applegate, there goes Bollinger, but Hall did lead the lap under caution. Vulpes now going to push Hall back into fourth. Hall trying to hold on and maybe get some stage points as his competitor Lewis back in 13th.
Kyle's got to be careful here.
Kevin Kyle, he's on the edge of destruction. We've seen Geyer blink. Don't get too close to that. And behind him, Matt Novella, very hungry to prove he's still got it in that 56. Beverly looking outside of him. Lots of good racing going on mid-pack after this restart here on 63.
Yeah, great racing so far. Good job by the leaders to get around Hunter Hall. Hunter Hall, an exceptional job of doing what he had to do to get those bonus points. I think maybe in his mind thinking, I don't think either Lewis nor I are going to get a stage points here, so let me get a bonus point for leading a lap, and he did exactly that as he just, that 26 does not want to turn, as you can see. Hunter Hall kind of going the NASCAR heat methodical approach here by using the wall to turn. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. As we look up front, Grant Applegate now, though, this race becoming a little bit more clear for him now with the lead over Bollinger, and you see Dalton Geyer and Alex Him and the DDI teammates joining the party.
Yeah, closing up. You can see Geyer and Hillman closing it up on Vulpes. Fresh tires right now, so these drivers do have that opportunity to push the car a little bit further than you might normally, and I think that's what we're seeing out of the DDI boys right now as they're pushing those faster lap times. 0.2 of a second faster than your leader Applegate were Hillman and Geyer the last lap. Bollinger falling a little behind Applegate, 0.2 of a second, but early in the run I expect to see the 53 saving a little bit of tire, as all the field should do, as stage points not as important when you're trying to just win and get that championship. Still 6 laps to go before the end of the stage. No caution on the stage. They'll keep on rolling. Applegate, Bollinger, Vulpes, your leaders. Behind them, the DDI teammates, Geyer and Hillman. Kevin Kyle still in the fight. Following behind them, he's that white car in 6th, just behind Hillman. Kyle, though, once again, only a few laps into this restart, finds himself 1.75 seconds back. So Kyle, again, not being aggressive, and I have to wonder what is the sense of urgency in that pit stall between Kyle and Jared Kelly. Yeah, a little bit of talking going on between them, but just not about go, not about push it. Seems like more of along the lines of let's be smooth, let's save the car, get to the end. So a part of their strategy, I think, is really dependent on there being a caution later in this race as well. But with only 13 cars on the lead lap, you got to wonder if that's a reality.
I completely agree, and you've heard us both, I think, be very critical of that strategy. We saw it happen in the Bonfire Truck Series. It was last season, and it was Vulpes, the guy on screen right now, and David Owens doing a similar strategy in a championship race. And to me, if you're here for a reason, Mean Gene, you're here because you're one of the 4 fastest guys in the league, and especially in this league of such unbelievably talented drivers. Now is not the time to be cute. Now is the time to put it all together and be as fast as you possibly can. Kevin Kyle maybe a little bit, maybe accepting his own inner reality, right? And thinking, I don't have a chance, when maybe he does. But we'll have to see how this works out. We still are not even at the halfway point, only 3 laps away.
Yeah, we'll revisit that conversation after this next pit stop and see if Kyle's going to change his driving style. We saw it work for Joe Vulpes. Vulpes, who was going so slowly at the beginning of the run to preserve his tires. Now you can see early in this run, he has pushed the pace a great deal and finds himself right on the tail of the 53 and only half a second behind Applegate. Still seeing some lines of choice that you don't agree with, Zach, as they are going low on that apron there in 3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, I like the low line. What I was saying that Fisher was doing wrong, Mean Gene, is you want to straddle, I guess, for lack of a better word.
There it is. That was it.
Yep, 1 and 2, as you really just saw Applegate do there, but you don't want to touch it. You want to look but not touch through that 1 and 2 line. Through 3 and 4, the lower you can get it, the better, in my opinion. However, you don't want to choke up the car too much. It's far more about your exit speed, as you're seeing. Look at that from Applegate. Brilliant exit speed, just where to go away from Bollinger. But we'll watch Applegate here, who appears to be the fastest race car on track. Watch how he takes 1 and 2. He waits for the car to turn down. Now it's turning down, and then he uses that momentum to carry it all the way, lower it in the corner. It drifts up. He doesn't have to worry about the wall as much as everybody else. That is how you make this racetrack easy and smooth. But what Fisher was doing is he was kind of banking off that line, Mean Gene. He was hitting the apron itself. And I think he was doing that to let the rear tire loosen up, to let him turn easier. But we saw how that kind of came back to bit him as it opened up the door.
Yeah, the other thing Applegate doesn't have to deal with is the number 11 in his tail.
Yeah.
You can see right here, every time the 53 goes at the middle of the turn, doesn't quite make it down to that little strip, Joe just pulls right up into him again and again. Again, I think Colin, we're used to seeing this guy just hang around. And so I think for his part, he's not too concerned with how far ahead of him Applegate gets, as he is maybe having a contact there with Vulpes. Meanwhile, look at Dalton.
Look at Dalton Geyer, right?
Look at the 36. You know, they're all in the same strategy. They all pitted on 61 just 14 laps ago to take those fresh tires. And so this is fascinating to see the 36. Were it not for that contact with the 6-7 on that restart at Michigan, we might be talking about the 36 Chevrolet in a championship run.
Exactly. I think Dalton Geyer is showing why he was so upset not to be racing for this championship, because he's showing the muscle he has at this racetrack, currently running fourth. And also, Mean Gene, how often do we get to be like, look at Dalton Geyer running super well on the same strategy as everybody else as he disappears? He'll be back.
No, he usually is hanging out somewhere else.
Yeah, he's usually doing like, it's usually that he's up there because he's on a 20 lap different strategy, or he's made his fuel last 30 laps longer than everybody else. But this is Dalton Geyer showing what you and I both already knew, is that the driver of that 36 is extremely fast. And sometimes I think while you see you and I give him a hard time, it's like, you have the speed, Dalton. You don't have to be so cute with it. But right now, the 36 doing a great job. I also think, I like what you said about Vulpes a lot too. I think Vulpes, to me, he does seem to be the strongest long-run car in the entire field. Maybe even more than Applegate, or else Applegate would be running away right now. I think it's just that hard to pass.
Oh, yeah. So we did see end of that stage right there. Applegate took it, even though it's not consequential for the championship run. And oh boy, I got a treat for you.
What is that?
Well, it's not a Snickers, I'll tell you that. Just got word from the infield care center. Somebody has been released from the infield care center.
I am excited to hear from him, and he's probably had enough time to talk to the in-care therapist as well, so I'm excited to hear from him.
Tony Iverson, you got Mean Gene, Zach Panzarella up in the booth. Can you hear me, brother?
Sorry, Tony.
Hey, guys.
how's your head? That looked like a rough hit
okay,
on that
buddy?
wall.
Physically, yeah. Mentally, I'm working on it.
So, in a PG-13 manner, you want to give us your perspective?
Then we'll tell you ours.
Yeah, I think I felt like I was giving him a lot of room, so I didn't expect any contact. And then it happened, and I tried to let off and steer away from him, but he just kept coming down, and felt like there was at least a solid 2.5 lanes of room for him there, and he should have been flaring toward the wall at that point.
I'll butt in here.
It is what it is.
I think what it was, Tony, in my opinion, I mean, you're the one in the race car. You know, you definitely know better than I. But what we saw from the outside looking in, you had that inside lane like you always do. You especially this year, you've just been so good on tire conservation and doing it by finding a way to somehow slot guard that yellow line, and you were just run that yellow line perfectly. While Kevin was kind of running that diamond, so while you were going up, he was coming down. You guys came together, and like you actually just described, you were doing everything you could to stay off of him. Both cars were out of control. It was the second you guys made contact, it was over. It was completely over, and it was just so unfortunate that your car ended up getting the worst of it.
Yeah, that front end damage. As soon as I parked it in pit road, we were done for the days.
You were on fire.
You were on fire, bro.
Yeah, you were
Shut out
legit
your
on
car.
fire. We had never seen that before. You were legit on fire.
Yeah, it. I don't know. I'm kind of in disbelief right now. I figured I would join you guys in the booth to try to keep myself light and maybe
Are you watching
watch
the
this
race?
race.
Do you have the video link?
No, I'm not seeing that.
Go to the VRN, go on Monday, you'll see it. One more question, Tony, that I was curious about, and then me and Gene take it away, and I apologize. Qualifying, was that considered a botch to you, and how important was that going in, and what did that do to your psyche going into the race, or do you think that had anything? Well, I guess we all know it did, or else, that probably wouldn't have happened, but did that, was that a mental thing, having to work through the field at all? Were you worried about that, or I guess take me through the qualifying effort here today and how important you viewed that going in?
Basically, what happened there was I had to do a huge lift coming out of turn 4 on my money lap, and so it cost me like 2.5, 3 tenths. I mean, I have the weirdest thing qualifying. I don't know what it is. Very rarely do I get a lap and that I feel good about.
Yeah, it's been an off year
I mean,
for you qualifying, but hey, it happens.
Yeah, I felt good about the race itself. The last time the league was at Kentucky, I was really fast and ended up losing to Novella on fuel strategy.
Sounds
I came
right.
in feeling pretty good. Yeah, you mean like I was catching them guys for a while. I was running faster laps than the leader, so I was feeling good about that. And then I had a couple dirty air moments, and when KK got back up to me, and happened.
Yeah, I mean, and as we watch this battle, me and Gene, anything else you want to ask him? As we see Bollinger looks like trying to make the outside work. I think more about that dirty air, right?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I mean, we saw you working. You still had that car going pretty quick. Then that contact comes in. It looked like Kevin, you entered low and Kevin entered high, and then you wanted to exit off the apron, and Kevin wanted to go down. Just two different driving styles coming together there, and unfortunately the 13 comes out on the bad end of that. Your front end hit, his rear end hit. He keeps going, and pretty crazy. High Side Hustlers goes from you, Grant, and Jordan talking to suddenly Grant by himself. Trying to make it work in the lead right now. I also, before you go, what was you and Grant's philosophy going into this thing? Were you going to just like, let's play nice and then last 10 laps, we'll stop talking?
I mean, the same philosophy with anybody on my team. I'm going to race them hard, but clean. And, unless we're talking about something extremely situational, like we can,
last lap for the championship, turn 3.
I mean, I'm talking about like more or less like things that would make us work together. Like last week at Michigan, when he was deciding to give me some boops into the corner instead of trying to pull a move. Probably the most, and then like different, like counting down different starts, restarts, those types of things. We always work together through that, but. If we had to race, we were going to race. Me and him have completely different approaches to the track, so I think it would have been fun if we could have seen what happened. Because I'll tell you right now, watching this race, ain't nobody doing it right.
That's funny.
Damn.
That is funny. Well, amazing season, Tony. I think you can look back at this one and still have a lot to be proud of. I only have one more question before we let you out of here. Who you got now?
I mean, Grant's got to win. We can't have Colin winning without any resistance from me. So I'm hoping Grant gets it done. He's looking pretty good right now. I wish he'd get his car a little bit lower to mess up Colin a little bit more.
Yeah,
but
go watch the broadcast. You can hear me scream about that.
You're one Discord channel away from telling him that.
Yeah, literally. Well, what's the fuel looking at? Where are you thinking we're coming in?
It looked like the laps were around 38 to 40, depending on how you drove it. So,
All right, so any minute now, and the car seems to be trending tighter.
oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Especially if you're behind anybody. I mean, this is a mirror driving situation, especially later in the run, because you can really just ruin somebody's run with your.
Do you see the undercut mattering here?
No, what's going on?
Or did you see the undercut mattering here? If Colin wanted to go for it, do you see that being advantageous, or do you think this is an overcut situation?
My mistake. I thought you said one already happened.
No, I apologize.
No, it's a little too close. I think there's only about 8 laps to play with when we were mathing it out.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it would be hard to say on that one.
That's going to be interesting. I think it'll be any lap now, and I think me and Gino, we have more and more speculating to do. That was a goldmine of information.
Yeah, it was. Tony, thanks for coming on. Sorry the way your season ends.
So sorry, Tony.
Though, to see a back-to-back championship 4 appearances, and I expect to see The Undertaker back again next year. Take care of yourself tonight, brother.
Great season, man.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
And hopefully he's going to jump up and go tell Grant, hey, man, that entry's a little whack.
Hug that white
Meanwhile-
that yellow line, my friend. Hug that yellow line.
Look at Kevin Kyle finally showing
Yeah.
a little bit of urgency.
A little bit of muscle, Mean Gene, and a lot of bit of long run speed, huh?
Yeah, he got that lead down a little bit more than the 2 seconds he's showing at the moment. But now he's run into a DDI wall, and as you know, track position getting by those guys is gonna be rough. Hillman currently looking at a top 5, doesn't want to give it up. Kyle gonna peek below, but he's got to pass 2 cars if he's gonna make that work.
Looking for a BOGO special here. Might get a note for one.
Yeah, he's going to get a no for one, and Novella behind him is going to give him an extra backwards.
Yeah, might get some tax
There you
added
go.
to this.
All right, don't pinch him too hard.
Nice entry by KK right there. Hillman giving him a lot of room, but the exit will not be there, Mean Gene.
And this is where you really want the triple screens. You know, you don't want to say money's an issue here, but you have no idea where those people are.
You're not wrong, though. You're so not wrong.
This is an exact spot. Like right here, he didn't know he could have come up there, slammed the door, and got behind Dalton.
He could have had a really, really strong exit there. You're completely right. And now he's in this sketchy situation. What I am seeing, though, Mean Gene, is unbelievably strong through 3 and 4 is the
There,
29
he's
of Kevin
clear.
Kyle. Yeah, he's got
What a
it. Shut the
move.
door. Slam it. There he goes. Slams the door. And Dalton Geyer, again, these are all good friends on and off the racetrack. And, Alex Hillman going to say not so fast, but as you should see here, you're going to see, I think, that little mini diamond again from KK. There it is, straight up the racetrack on exit. Gives himself that exit speed he needs, and watch how he drives a little bit away from that 08 so he can comfortably enter 1 and 2.
Wow, Dalton Geyer went from 4th to 7th in 1 lap. You know he ain't happy, but showed great speed on that run. I think that, that's going to go in the data bank of the 36 for him to use a little bit later.
Look at this
race.
Oh, no.
So Kevin Kyle still at 229, but now he's ahead of the rest of the group. Grant Applegate working his way
Around Steve Lewis.
around lap traffic. Lewis, he's very close to catching up to Hunter Hall. Lewis is a lap down after that right there. Hunter Hall also a lap down. Hunter needs to move it, though, or else he's going to go 2 laps down.
Oh, big missed opportunity from Grant Applegate right there, Mean Gene. Steve Lewis hugging the bottom, completely compromising the entry for Bollinger and Bulpus, forced them high. That was an opportunity for Grant Applegate to at least experiment with the bottom, try to hug that bottom. He didn't take advantage of it, and oh boy, big hit to the outside wall on the exit of 4 there for the 14 of Applegate. Look how big of a run this is going to create for Bollinger. Applegate needs to make a decision here, Mean Gene, either get those tires off the race car or figure it out. Not to mention, I don't think the 11 of Vulpus helps at all.
No, I'm listening to the radio. Applegate, after that hit, lost speed, but car's still going.
Car looks healthy.
Yeah, that's what he's saying on the radio. It looked bad, but for whatever reason, still going straight. I imagine he had the wheel straightened out by then, so it's just a scuff rather than, losing a front, a toe link or something.
And man, look how just impossible it is to get to that bottom through 1 and 2. Bollinger and Vulpus also not able to do it, you know they would have loved the bottom because that's where the clean air was. It's the better line and where the clean air was. No one able to back up their car enough to get there. But look at this runoff. It looks like the 53 is starting to generate on the exits of 4, Mean Gene. This is a similar track to Texas where you always tell people there's that 3 and 4 at Texas that's pretty much wide open, right? And then you have that 1 and 2 where you're hitting the brakes. What you do through here, 1 and 2, where it feels like you should be going all out, this little mini saving you do through here pays off in 3 and 4.
You know, you might be wondering who ran the fastest lap that last time around the circuit. That would be Kevin Kyle.
Yeah, he's looking really, really strong, Mean Gene. He's only 1.4 seconds behind this lead group. But I'm trying to figure out how much of it is Applegate and Bollinger, you know, mixing up Bollinger, waiting for his moment, Volpus not wanting to be on the wrong end of a storyline, or how much is just raw speed from the 29 of Kevin Kyle. I think it may be the latter.
We've seen him get faster. He was very conservative the first run. A little bit faster the second run. Kevin said, though, it's going to take strategy. And guess who's going to short pit the rest of the boys right now? That's right, the 29.
Oh, and he comes. Okay, that completely kills the point I was trying to make. And okay, wow. Okay, Mean Gene, look at this. We are on board with Grant Applegate right now. He is clutching through 1 and 2, and I mean, as someone who just ran this race over in the DIRL and had to do the same thing, I can promise you he's about to clutch through 3 and 4. Oh my goodness, he's clutching about 200 yards earlier than I was. And what that I think exposes to me even more, Mean Gene, is that Bollinger has to be doing the same thing, or else he would have passed them by now. So now we're gonna go on board with Bollinger, and again, I'll put my bank account on it. He's doing the same thing, and we know if these two are. We know Volpus is, right?
Yeah,
No,
Joe,
Mean Gene.
No, he's going.
Oh, he might just go for it here. Maybe he was previously, but maybe he's going to catch Applegate off guard here, and that's the risk that you take when you're trying to conserve fuel. Here goes Bollinger.
Meanwhile, pits are opening up. Dalton Dyer coming down all on his own.
And Volp is actually going to accompany him. Not like that will change anything for Bollinger, though. That is a precarious position for Grant Applegate. Struggling on the long run, in my opinion, Mean Gene. Saving fuel. The plan here clearly is, you know, we just talked to Tony. We have about 42 left to go. That means this last run would, for everybody, right, would be a fuel-saving run. Here comes Applegate, Mean Gene.
He pushed it a little bit farther. You got to wonder, though. You got to wonder, though, like how much speed did he cost himself? How much track position with those last few laps? Because he was really putting himself in a bad situation. So the guys that did pit going to be coming around very soon.
Here comes Bollinger.
You can see coming out of the pit right there.
And here comes KK, Mean Gene. So this will be interesting.
Yeah, Kevin up to speed. Remember, Kevin did choose to pit first. So that was the short pit strategy. Now Kevin looking around the outside of Joe Volpus. The 11 finally up to speed. Going to lose the exit battle, though. Kyle gets by him.
There's Bollinger.
And now here comes Applegate out of the pit.
Oh, boy.
Creeping. Here comes Bollinger up to speed. That's the difference. 30-mile-an-hour difference there.
Oh, my goodness, Mean Gene.
Woo.
There it is. And it's only 1 lap. It's only 1 lap, Mean Gene. That's going to be really hard for Applegate. Really, really difficult.
Yep. Oh, my word. And look behind them. All those guys also pitting. So Kevin Kyle, lap 105, has to be the one that has to play a fuel conservation game, in my opinion, as he needs to sneak out 45 laps on that car. Meanwhile, the 14 of Applegate pitted on 108, so he needs to sneak around 42, 43 laps. Gonna be interesting to see as all these fellas find themselves behind the 8 ball of fuel conservation. I don't want to root for a caution, but man, I don't want to watch 4-wide parades like we did at Talladega 3 years ago.
This is the tough one, Mean Gene, because I know what you're saying, and I agree with you on the most level. I do mostly agree with you.
But they still got to race at some level. Even if you're saving fuel, You're still racing.
What I think is, like, we like to use the chess analogy all the time, right? As we see Applegate already trying to put that pressure on Bollinger, and this is what I like about this, Mean Gene. Nobody here hypothetically has enough to make it on fuel. So you need to find that balance between what Applegate's doing. Here he goes for the lead. You can't even use too much fuel here, Mean Gene. You've got to do 10 things at once. Here we go.
All right, he's still at the quarter. Bollinger on the outside. Applegate dives it in there. Willie slide up the 53, now pokes down low, thinking about a crossover.
Oh, he is.
Completes the crossover back to the quarter of the 14. He's at the door, and he takes lap number 112. We're dicing here at Kentucky. What an amazing championship race as we see 3 of the 4 contenders in the top 4.
What does the most prestigious championship in MRL mean to these drivers? I think this is going to answer your question right here. Grant Applegate full send to the inside. These two are not worried about fuel right now. They just want to control this race. Applegate going to slide up. Bollinger going to give him no real estate. Barely grazes the wall. Does not cost them any speed. And we're going to run this thing back for another lap.
You know, funny thing, as they're doing this, Volpus is not catching them. So I think at some level, Joe is thinking, please burn it up, boys.
Yup.
Burn it up.
I completely agree, Mean Gene. He's thinking, good, I'll just clutch it up. And you know who else is probably thinking the same thing? Kevin Kyle.
Man, if Kevin Kyle gets 45 freaking laps out of that 29 Chevrolet, I'm going to be crazy surprised.
Yeah, it's normally a 4th.
All right, so here we go. They have managed now to settle down up in the front.
Grant gets it done.
Applegate with the lead. Bollinger behind him. I think both guys thinking, I got to save fuel, but it was Applegate flexing just a little bit longer than Colin to make sure that his car, that his Chevy's ahead of that Toyota. Great battle here. And now here comes the game of fuel conservation, but it's still going to be exit and entry, throttle control and clutch. Who can make it roll better? Who can get more speed? And for the 53, he also has to be thinking in ahead, Zach, why don't you pull me around the track?
I was literally about to say that, Mean Gene. I was about to say that exact thing. This is pure speculation because, you know, again, we've said this already. These are not ARCA cars. These are next gens, which are very technologically advanced compared to an ARCA car. But one thing that we did realize, you and I were both in that ARCA race, was, oh my goodness, the guys who are mid-pack, 5th, 6th, as long as they have someone about what you're seeing right here on board with Colin Bollinger, looking at that 14 of Applegate, they're saving more fuel and they're not going much slower because they don't need to go full throttle down the front and backstretch. They can use that insane draft you get and they're saving more fuel. And there it is right there, Mean Gene. That's the clutch. That's dead silence that our viewers are hearing. Colin Bollinger pulling in the clutch through 3 and 4, and we'll ride on board with Grant Applegate on this next lap here. This is now on board with Applegate. Last time around, he did not do any type of fuel conservation. I think that's for 2 reasons, Mean Gene. One, we just saw it happen. If you try to get Q with it, you open up the door and someone will take advantage of it. Or 2, the incentive isn't as much there as it is for Bollinger. So I was actually a little bit surprised to see Applegate want control this race so badly. There he goes, Mean Gene. He is actually downshifting into 4th. No such thing as fuel conservation going on here.
Yeah, I'm looking at Kevin Kyle, man. We're in full conservation mode over here.
Here we are on board with Kevin Kyle on the KK cam here, and yeah, you are right, Mean Gene. You are very right. And I'm assuming anything we won't see here is we probably won't see any shifting, will we?
No, we're not seeing anything. You can imagine he's probably got Jared Kelly in his ear talking about RPMs at the moment as well.
So curiously though, Mean Gene, Kevin Kyle not pulling in the clutch. The only championship, I guess we should say 3 driver, at this point pulling in the clutch is Colin Bollinger. And Bollinger is really living the best of 2 worlds right now, where you are in 2nd place, you are in winning position, but you're also doing what you need to on the strategy side of it.
Meanwhile, looks like Hunter Hall has come down into the pits. Best of the rest championship contender, trying to chase down Steve Lewis. This pit stop by Hall going to allow Lewis to get back by him. Lewis with that 7-point advantage going in. Hall did lead some laps, so that made it 6, but Hall going to need a little bit of help if he's going to get 5 spots ahead of Louis for that championship.
Fun little battle going on over there. And I mean, honestly, I love that battles, that best of the rest, Mean Gene, because oftentimes it's not even guys who didn't make the playoffs off speed. It was guys who maybe didn't have the attendance to make the playoffs, but still ran the minimum amount. And you oftentimes see some really fast drivers battling for that prize, and taking a lot of pride in it. And I think Lewis and Hunter Hall are exceptional examples of that.
Yeah, they need to go. The commish, John Beverly, also part of that battle. He was 1 point behind Hall going into that thing, but didn't get the stage points, didn't get the lead a lap yet. So he's got a little taller hill to climb to get back into this thing. Speaking of taller hill, trying to stretch the fuel, 45 laps are some of these drivers. So going to be very curious to see last lap. We're looking at 30.97, six tenths of a second off of the lead of their fastest laps. Here we go. You can see Applegate making his way around Louis, giving him that top lane. Going to let Applegate get that better angle, use less scuff on the tire. Applegate very appreciative. Here comes Colin. Will Louis give him same respect? I think so.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. They're going to find out the hard way.
I think what beneficiary for both Bollinger and Applegate in this situation, though, is that Louis is in a worse tire situation than both the 14 and 53 are. I think they're very grateful that they're finding Louis and not someone like Hunter Hall, who was on fresh tires now and give them all sorts of problems. As Applegate really just trying to have the most uneventful 25 laps of his life right here, Mean Gene. But I'm keeping my eye on the lap times. I'm looking at everything, every piece of data I have available to me, and I don't like being a glass half empty guy, but I don't like this.
Yeah, you think everybody's going to run out of gas at the same time?
Not everybody. I think there's someone who won't, and it's a guy that is having a hard time holding that wheel because he already has a big ass ring on one of his fingers.
Oh, Colin. So
Yes,
let's
sir.
see, if you look at the season these boys had, Colin Bollinger, 16 top 10s on the season for his 19 starts. That is amazing. 11 top 5s
Insane.
for Colin in his 19 starts. 4 wins, 3 stage wins, 2 poles. Great season for Colin, making his way, defending champion, regular season champion, but right now looking at the rear of Grant Applegate. Applegate as well. Remember, he missed 4 races, so everything he's done has been done in just 15 races. 10 top 10s in just 15 races. 7 top 5s. No wins for Applegate. Would love to change that here today. Did get the 3 stage wins, tying Colin for most stage wins on the year, and taking 1 pole did Grant Applegate, leading right now this number 14. Then Kevin Kyle, the outsider, looking in. Kevin did have 19 starts, 12 top 10s for Kevin on the season out of his 19 starts. 5 top 5s, lowest of the championship 4. But still consistent enough to find himself where he is. Stage wins 1. That big win he needed to jump ahead of Joe Volpis just last week. And then no poles for Kevin. Doesn't need a pole. All he needs is a win. And now it's his turn to shoot by Louis.
He didn't need
Going
what Louis
lower,
just
that's
gave
a little
him
tougher.
on the entry of 3, Mean Gene. Louis completely took his line. Oof, on the entry of 3, he almost brought out a caution there between
That's
KK.
a teammate.
I
That's
know.
his teammate.
So that was a very colorful conversation between those two. And one more thing that you brought up earlier about the 14 of Applegate and just how we did see him, graze the wall a few times while leading the race. And you brought up like that's what we know from Grant. And what just immediately just flashed back to me, Mean Gene, was the Brickyard. Grant Applegate puts it on the pole. He has the fastest race car by far. And what happens early in the race, gets loose at a 4 and he wrecks himself and takes himself out of the race. And not only is this the progression that we're seeing from Grant, but also just, I think what it takes sometimes to be this good, Mean Gene. And Grant Applegate putting it all on the line here, every lap going as hard as he possibly can.
It's going to be fascinating to see. He did push it a little farther on that last fuel stop than the others did, but now up front with no drafting assistance for Applegate, as he's just trying to make it work, cutting the air himself. Behind him, of course, Bollinger getting the benefit of the air. And then there's other drivers. I mean, if you pit, you're going to fall to the back of all of these lead cat lap
You're
cars.
going to go a lap down. You're going to go a lap down,
So,
man, Jane.
You got to look all the way back to like John Beverly, who's in 9th at the moment. Beverly did pit on 107 like everybody else, only 8 seconds off the lead. So he's not in danger of going a lap down. And if everybody in front runs out of fuel or makes that pit, just like that, the General Lee is going to find himself in the front. It'll be a party in Hazard County, Kentucky, here at Kentucky Speedway.
I'll fly to
So
wherever
all
J-Beb
these
is.
guys. So you gotta you can't count out any of those top drivers at the moment. And then the only guy we know can make it is Hunter Hall, who pitted on 118.
Yeah. I was about to be like,
You
wait,
know
who?
he can make it, but he's 2 laps down.
And that really is the, Hunter Hall was not running up front, but that does give you a slight indication of what the punishment is for having to take that pit stop. Splash or not, Mean Gene. I mean, we saw it in DDRL. If you guys were in a very similar situation, they weren't able to stretch it, and they did go a lap down. It will end your race if you cannot stretch this. And what's been really interesting to me as well is the lack of difference in speed between 4 laps of tires, right? Actually, that's not 4 laps. I'm sorry, between 1 lap of tires between Bollinger and Applegate. But not just that. I just think that 1 lap is so much bigger when it comes to fuel than it does tires.
Yeah.
That is so
it's-
hard to
it's-
save.
It's been a slow breakdown of the tires, but I haven't seen it destroy anybody's momentum as of yet. Whereas fuel, you're done.
Yeah,
First
and imagine us telling Grant, hey, Grant, save 1 lap of tires. Like, it appears that he could maybe do that or be like, oh, just dial it back. Save 1 lap of fuel and don't let Colin get by you. Yeah, good luck with that.
I'm being tricky here. I'm trying to look at career stats.
I mean, I will say in terms of championship contenders, I mean, like, just all things considered, and in terms of the way this race is sort of panning out, I like the chances of Vulpes and Matt Novella to win this race. But to win the championship, Mean Gene, I like Bollinger right now. Again, I still do. I'm confident in his ability. If we all had fuel, I think we know who'd be the champion. I worry about that 14, Mean Gene. I genuinely do. I hope I'm wrong.
Pitted on lap 108, one after everybody else out there. Bollinger, Vulpes on 107, Novella as well. And then Kevin Kyle, you got to be thinking he is probably in the most danger, pitting back on 105, needing to save, golly gee, 45 laps of fuel to make it to the end. We're on lap number 137, just completed. So still got 13 laps to go. You got to imagine those fuel gauges are about to start flashing at some of these drivers. Applegate 0.8 of a second lead. So that means Colin is not getting the benefit of that draft anymore. Colin now having to pull his own weight around. Same situation with Joe Vulpes behind him. Vulpes in 3rd, no benefit from a draft. Then Novella, then Kevin Kyle. Now there is a lap driver in between Novella and Kevin Kyle, I believe.
I believe actually other way around, between Kyle and Geyer, there is Hunter Hall.
Okay.
On those pressure
and
tires.
now what's going on? Look at Hunter Hall. It's Clausen off the pace. There's Hall on fresher tires, and then there's Kevin Kyle. So this is scary.
This is very scary for a lot of drivers right now. I mean, Gene, and we just kind of did a little walkthrough of all of our championship contenders of Kyle, Bollinger, and Applegate, and nobody is doing any type of field conservation, Mean Gene. So
Here
there's
comes Hunter Hall zipping through.
yeah, he may get his lap back the hard way here. But there's
If he did that and he could make it to the end,
oh my goodness,
it would be fascinating to see where he would be.
a double DDI win, I'll take it.
If everybody else had to pit, it would be really close.
But that is kind of what I'm thinking might be this situation. I'm confused. I'll be honest with you, Mean Gene. I try to always act like I can predict what's going on, but I'll tell you this: there's one of two things going on. Either they all can make it, and they are good, and they somehow figured something out. Maybe they saved earlier in the run, and they can all make it now, or they have given up all hope on making it, and they all have the knowledge that if you're Applegate, Bollinger can't make it, and KK can't make it. So go as hard as you can, because no one is saving meaningfully right now, and I'd have to assume, especially someone like KK, right? 5 laps short, you have to be clutching that thing halfway down the backstretch. He's not doing anything of the sort. He's shifting, as is Bollinger and as is Applegate. They are focused on speed right now, so we'll have our answer in 9 laps time at most, but maybe in 4 or 5, Mean Gene, we missed something if these guys can make it.
Yeah. No, there's no way. We didn't miss anything. I think they're all going to have to pit except for maybe Hunter Hall, especially if they're downshifting at this and they're just all out.
And one thing too, Walton did park his car, so he could be helping Bollinger. I don't know if they're in the same Discord or not, but all I know is if these guys are going to pit, they know something. They have to know. You would not run it like this, Mean Gene, if you didn't know. My competitors cannot make it either.
It's possible because with 2 spotters out there, they can look at the other driver and say, oh, he pitted on 105. Oh, I'm looking at his in-car. He's not saving fuel.
Right, exactly.
So, okay, Colin's not saving. Grant's not saving.
Go.
Kevin dropped the hammer.
Exactly, go. Exactly.
Like, who cares what place you would get? You're just racing those 2 fellas anyway.
This is the exact thought process I have going on right now. That must be what they were told. We're on board with Kevin Kyle right now, and he'd be the one more than anyone, right, that you just see clutching it at this point. Nothing. Like, I think we may even see him go down to 4th in 3 and 4. So my assumption, Mean Gene, here with 6 laps to go in our season is that these guys are good.
Yeah, he's 9 seconds back is Kevin Kyle from Grant Applegate. So really, the championship hopes of Kevin Kyle are really in danger here. He's also a 1/10 of a second slower lap. We still see Grant Applegate as the fastest of the championship 3 who still are surviving out there, pulling that lead over Colin now to 1.7 seconds. So
huge lead.
It really is, and it makes me wonder with Applegate, with Bollinger, has he decided, I bet I could make it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we're seeing Grant driving relatively aggressively. So another thing, Mean Gene, like if I'm Grant in the situation, and I can say I just did this, if you have this lead, you're immediately thinking whether or not you have enough. If it's close, you're like, let me pull in the clutch here, right? Let me just make sure. This is a championship.
It was Alex Hillman.
Yeah, here comes Hillman. So there's our first. And Hillman pit on lap.
And he was 107.
This is fascinating, Mean Gene. I think maybe Apple. I think at this point the thing I'm gonna I guess stick with is that these guys are going to run it dry, and if they run out of fuel trying to win a championship, then so be it.
This would be a crazy championship run if everybody ran out of gas. It's like who went the furthest? Applegate ran out of fuel in turn 2.
No one finishes.
Kevin Kyle, he ran out of fuel in turn 1. Oh, it's Bollinger ran out of fuel on the backstretch. Congratulations. God
3 more miles though, Mean Gene. 3 miles until the guy who has not won a race this year. He's been so close. He's been so fast, but he is less than 3 miles away from his first win and, far more importantly, a championship.
Wow, Grant Applegate, first-year driver, missed the first 4 races, had the second best rating on the year out of all of the drivers about to come around and take the white flag. The 14 does it. This race is going to be official. watching to see, can Applegate hold on? 2.4 second lead over Colin. Colin's gone into conservation mode. Applegate down the back stretch, looking at 3, no one in front of him. Question is, how much fuel remains? Maintaining speed, 185, 150, 163. Look at this.
Wow,
we've got a new champion.
Unbelievable. Grant Applegate, who cares about the 19 race before this? He is a champion, Mean Gene.
Getting it done here today. Grant Applegate, talked to him before the race. He talked about track position, strategy. He raced Colin hard to maintain that top position. We thought it would cost them the fuel. He holds on, and there it is, coming through in the clutch. First win on the year, gonna be for Grant Applegate, champion here at Kentucky, champion of Season 5 MRL. Zach, what a crazy finish. I thought no way these boys would make it to the end.
What a race, man. I cannot wait to talk to these drivers. I cannot wait to talk to this man specifically, Grant Applegate. I cannot be more proud of this guy. He is such a good dude off track, Mean Gene, as we both know, but he is such a hard worker on track. He deserves this. He's worked so hard for this, and he has been through everything. And just some poetic, I guess you could say, justice of this, Mean Gene, is this race was dedicated to the 12 of Dennis Puckett and the 16 of Greg Biffle. And let's just go ahead and fill in that one last even number in between the two and make that our champion of the 14.
Oh, you're doing some Illuminati stuff. I can't do that math.
Top of the pyramid,
are
my
you seeing
friend.
the numbers?
All over, my friend. I'm like that one meme from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, the numbers are lighting up here.
Look
What
at
an
that burnout.
amazing. Yeah, he's got the sideways going.
And
Grant Applegate, champion.
shades of Tony Stewart as well, Mean Gene. Tony Stewart in that 14. No one was thinking about that guy in the chase when he won his last championship at the NASCAR Cup Series, but then he went to the chase and he lit the entire series on fire and he got it done. And that same number that Grant Applegate just did in the Finley Farms, number 14. Finley Farms, a very cool sponsor. Shout out Kyle Larson. And what a moment for that driver, that young driver too, Mean Gene. Screw how young he is, but wow, I could not be more proud of that driver and really of our entire championship for what a show they put on. And Bollinger has every reason to be proud, and what a season that 53 put together.
Yeah, he won that regular season championship, defending from last year. Comes up a little short today. He knows exactly what it feels like to be Tony Iverson. Remember, Tony finished second right behind him last year, this time Colin, and the newcomer Grant Applegate. First win of the year. Let's break protocol and just bring Grant in.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you just said that, because I was like, is it out of line to want that to happen right now?
Grant Applegate!
Grant! You're the champion!
Oh, thank goodness. That was stressful.
Man, you hit that wall on that one lap. I was screaming. Tell me, did the car change? You know the moment.
Yeah, no, somehow it didn't. I mean, I was talking to Bollinger when it happened. I was like, woof, that was sketchy. Yeah, I guess I had the wheel straight enough that it was all, just door didn't hit the flush with the wall. And yeah, I mean, I hit the wall softer than that in practice several times, and it would kill the steering. So, oh, that was stressful.
No, Zach and I were trying to do math, but we both had our shoes off. We're seeing numbers. How on earth did you manage to stretch it that far there at the end? I mean,
and pass Bollinger.
I pitted a lap later, and honestly, that first run I could have went another lap, but we got, I think it was 43.4 to a tank if you didn't downshift the whole run. So I hit the line. It was said 43 to go, and I was like, well, they've all pitted and 43 to go, and based off the math I did in practice and everything else, that should be plenty good to go. So came down pit road, and I pushed the whole last run. So,
What'd you have left when you crossed the start finish line?
0.8 or something like that.
Wow.
And yeah, so I didn't have a lot left, but yeah, I had plenty. Yeah. Not enough for a burnout.
You did the burn. You did donuts.
Hey, same thing, but back to back, me and Gene. I had enough for about as much burnouts as Grant just did. I had 0.4 when I crossed the start finish line.
Now, Grant, before the race, I got to talk to you, and one of the things you mentioned was strategy and track position. You were in a hell of a battle with Colin Bollinger there to keep the lead late in that last fuel run. I mean, is this exactly the moment that you were alluding to with me of battling for track position?
I'm going to be honest. That race did not go how I thought it was going to.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently, you know, me and my high side, I always manage to find it. And I don't know how I found the high side at Kentucky, but, yeah, I mean, you seen it when Fisher was still in the race. I was like, let me try the outside, see what happens. It just ran him down past him. And then Bollinger seen me doing that, so he started running it, and he caught up to us while we were battling. So, yeah, I'm baffled. I gotta be honest, because like I was expecting to take like my strategy was to take 2 tires on the first green flag pit stop, 4 tires on the second,
Wow.
2 tires on the last one, because that was my whole plan for the strategy wise, and that should have put me out front. And then we had to do 90 green flag laps, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to put 90 laps on a set of left side tires.
I
So,
can't believe that. I can't believe you're a team
Yeah.
game too. And me and Gene, he's going to hate the broadcast because, Grant, I guess I'll tell you now, I was criticizing that high line through 1 and 2 so hard. And I cannot believe you made it work.
1 and 2 was just to get out of dirty air. But 3 and 4, yeah, 3 and 4 was unbelievable.
Oh, beautiful. Unbelievable. Your runs were exceptional.
Yeah, like that was an actual high side, whereas the high side in 1 and 2 was just to get out of the dirty air and not burn the tires up from being tight. So,
Finley Farms,
then-
Larson line, baby. All right, sorry, Gene.
yeah.
Well, Grant, congratulations. First season here, pulling off the win. First win of the year. Can't have picked a better time taking that championship. Defending champion Colin right behind you. Great win, my man. Anybody you want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Boy, I know I say it every week, but just people who put on the show. I mean, it doesn't, as much as everybody says it, it honestly doesn't get said enough because, I mean, let's just be honest, it's a lot of work, and I would never have the time to do it, so I don't know how they have the time to do it. It's with job and real life and all that. So just the admin team that puts on the show and keeps everything, honestly, that keeps everything, what's the word I'm looking for? Calm would be the best way to put it, because you know there's so many times you can get into a league and everybody just everybody's just unorderly, and it's just everybody acts like you got to win on lap 3, and it's just like, oh my goodness, those leagues are no fun to race in, because it's just like you got to push hard to, otherwise you get to like 14th, like it's the whole field pushes hard.
Right.
For
Sorry
no
about that.
reason.
Sorry about that.
And I mean, racing's fun until somebody screws up and you get a wreck fest. So
It doesn't make it even
back to-
better to race that way either. No one gets better driving over their head because no one else can leap space.
And that's where my driving style in this league is. You've seen a lot of races where it costs me because I'm pushing hard at the beginning of the run, because those are the leagues I've always ran in. And come over here and just you don't have to do that, and I had to learn how to do that. So admin team, appreciate y'all for putting on a show. Can't wait to watch this back. And biggest shout out to Jordan Fisher. He's my friend. We practiced a little bit, and
R.I.P.
he didn't really help me with anything, more so as he showed me how fast I needed to go and how fast I needed to be on the long run on top of that. So, like, he didn't give me any secrets or anything like that, but, you know, we say it all the time. When somebody really good races with you, they make everybody else better, because the only way you beat them is by doing what they do. So, yeah, like, I can be fast for 10 laps and be faster than him, but he knows that, you know, that's going to burn tires up and that's never going to win you the race. So, yeah, I want to race on long run speed. That is insane to me. You could talk to anybody I've ever raced with. Long run speed is not my forte. It's always give me a caution, 15 to go. I'll go out there, burn the tires off of it, and try my best to drive away. About like Michigan last week, I burnt the tires off of it trying to drive away, and that's what got Bollinger, who was on older tires than me, and he caught right back up to me because I didn't know how to push without pushing, if that makes any sense. But yeah, just nobody had nobody
out of breath.
had nobody to talk to for 40
Listen to that
laps.
emotion,
So,
Mean Gene. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Just nobody to talk to for 40 laps and nobody to kind of keep you calm and anything like that.
We were yelling at you, Grant, so don't worry. You may have not heard us, but
Yeah.
you were being talked to. We were yelling
Yeah,
at
we
you.
were giving you the business.
We were, man. I am so damn proud of you, dude.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
evolution of Grant Applegate from slingshot, quick at the beginning, fading backwards to working with it and seeing at the end what it takes to finish. Couldn't have picked a better time. I am so happy to watch it, and I am super proud to say Grant Applegate Season 5 Monday Mayhem champion. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it. Oh, and one more thing.
Mhm.
I ended the season the exact opposite way I started it. Phoenix, I don't know if y'all remember Phoenix, but kind of got out in the lead, drove away, and screwed up. And
Grant,
tonight, I got out in the lead and made sure I was not going to do that again.
Grant, do you remember Andy?
Indy? Oh, Indy didn't happen. No.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
blamed.
That got
Denial.
brought up today. What a full circle moment for you, honestly, though, man. Like, I think you did struggle with the long run early, and wow, that felt like a full story there. Amazing job, man.
Yeah, I mean, you go ahead and get to some other people, get some other people some interviews, because it'd be interesting what they got to say. But yeah, just appreciate y'all for having me. If you want an extra interview after you're done, I'd be appreciated. I'll be on.
All right, thanks, brother.
Congrats,
Y'all
my
have a
man.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring in Championship 4 driver number 2, finished second, regular season champion, last season's defending champion. I got it for you, Zach. Got that 53.
Mr. Colin Bollinger, we got you, my friend.
Yes, sir. What's going on, guys?
Oh my goodness, what a show. I mean, like, unbelievable championship race. I will say, with about 20 to go, I was thinking, I did say in the air, I was like, this is going to be Bollinger again. He's about to go back to back. It looked like the fuel was more of an issue than it was. I guess take me through that last run and what was going on for you in terms of fuel and what you had available to you to put up a fight against the 14.
I mean, there was really nothing. He was in the first run. We sat there good, and apparently he was able to save fuel from the lead and still air block every person around him. So that's Kentucky and the next gen car. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so we saved, and he was just able to save the extra lap, which was allowed him to push while I had to save the next run. And we finally sorry, I cursed. I'm sorry, fellas. We finally went to a track. Where the 14 don't rip the tires off because that lane was dominant. So it's just, we'll deal with that. 9 out of 10 times it don't work like that, but tonight was the one. So, but I'm not mad at losing him. I mean, me and him raced good all year, and I like Grant a good deal. So those two out of the 3 other guys, I'm glad that he was able to bring it home. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you definitely made him earn it, my man. You definitely made him earn it. Until the last lap, you felt like a giant threat. And I guess before we move on to the entire season as a whole, we got to bring this annoying part up. Just so you know, before you watch the broadcast, we did not assign blame to anybody between what happened with you and Fisher. Look very much
That's
from
right.
our perspective.
We did not. You're right.
Yeah, we did not. But no, it looked like very much a racing incident. It looked like you went to send a potentially late side draft to him, and maybe he was coming down the corner at that point. From your perspective, what happened there?
That really was what it is. I even said through race chat, I told him that I was literally just trying to side draft him because I caught up to him, and of course, everybody's so worried about looking in their mirror instead of trying to pass the guy in front. So caught up to him, and he started running my line. So in the 3, we just tried to side draft, and I think literally like we said, as I was pulling up the side draft and he started pulling down, it kind of flicked him. It sucks, but I mean, I can't feel too bad. Those, some of those guys driven me like, shit majority of the year. So we give and take, and we'll do it again, and it'll happen the other way some other time, and it's all right.
Yeah, it looked like a few receipts were cashed in tonight, and that's funny to hear that, actually. But hey, man, I think all things considered, to bring this back to the entire season, you still cement yourself as, easily one of the greatest drivers in the league's history. You are a defending champion. You win the regular season championship, I believe 2 years in a row. Correct me if I'm wrong there. and you have another dominant season with several wins. So when you look back at this entire year, is this the type of season where you're like, yeah, the champ should be great, but look at all these trophies, or does something feel empty? And what's the outlook for next year?
I mean, the outlook, hopefully don't go to Kentucky at the end of the season. No, but I don't know. It was a good season, but you guys are not, I could care less. I'd rather just win it at the end, and we just couldn't do it. Yeah, maybe we should give some more time in the sim, but I actually enjoy my life as well. So, and maybe we can get some time in there with Matt Busa next season. Maybe we can get him and try and figure something out with him in a couple races, something or other. I'm just poking fun, but no, it was a good season for sure.
I opened the broadcast with that. I opened the broadcast with that.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, like, I gotta also just give a shout out to Bollinger again. Just, I mean, ending the season and we get maybe the best interview all year and just the most Bollinger interview ever. So just amazing. Always a pleasure talking to you, Colin. And genuinely, it's just great talking to you after the races. It is watching you on track. Amazing season. And congratulations on the entire season. Still a ton to be proud of. And like I said, still one of the greatest drivers this league has ever seen. So congratulations on all that you accomplished. And any shots you want to give before we see you again next year, hopefully?
Just the same guy, Team Blues racing. Dan Plant Smith wasn't here. Andrew Bolander, wasn't here. Rachel Wingfield was here for 35 laps, wrecked himself per usual. You guys for putting on a broadcast, it's always great. And then our champion, Grant Applegate. That's really it.
Thank you so much, Colin. I cannot wait to be doing a lot of the same next year, man. Congratulations on the season.
Thank you, buddy.
Take it easy, bud.
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess
Class act tonight, man. He stuck around. He stuck around for the interview.
He did.
Right?
Pure class.
And then had nothing but flowers for the people ahead of him, and
roses and daisies.
Brought up the apologies for what happened with Fisher. So, he took this the obligatory
high road.
The obligatory shots at the faster pro driver. Why not?
Yeah, we pay him for that, so yeah.
I would. Yeah, exactly. I need that guy. But it was cool to see, him do that. I mean, it's hard. He won the Xfinity 2 years in a row.
He's a winner.
Mayhem last year, regular season Mayhem this year. And so, when he's humble in victory and gracious in defeat. So you have to appreciate that. That's at 53 of Colin Bollinger. Really glad that he stuck around for that. Now here's where it gets tricky. Joe Volpus got third. Kevin Kyle, though, would have been the next driver. You want to bring in Kevin just to give him a little chat?
Sure. Let's talk to KK real quick, then I'll give you JV. Is this me? Do you want me to take KK?
Yeah.
All right, I will.
Play his commercial in the background.
Oh, don't you worry.
It'll be sexy.
I hope you played the other commercial I gave you.
The one with you shirtless, right?
Yeah, that song.
Yeah, I got you on that. All right, KK, take me. Oh, that's the wrong commercial. Take me through your day today. You were precarious to us. I'm going to be honest. We speculated over you maybe having some strategy earlier. Cautions falling at interesting times. Take me through your day, what the plan was, and how it all came together.
I don't know, man. We just were trying to run hard. I mean, there wasn't any, I wasn't going to try to, I usually do fuel strategy, and I just didn't want to try it again with this kind of race. I wanted to at least be in the picture, or somewhat in the picture, and then it was just trying to figure out how to stay fast, and just didn't work out, man. These guys are really good, and it's okay. You can't, obviously, I know my skill level, and it was just kind of settling into that skill level, and these guys are really good, and I just tried to do the best I could, and that was it, man. And we were hoping for another caution there, at the end, instead of just trying to save. But the way I was even driving, I was saving naturally, so I was able to stop it like Grant and Colin even, because I think they were clutching, and I was just driving my heart out, and I still couldn't catch up to them. So, when you start seeing that, it kind of demoralizing. It just kind of lets you know where you are in skill level. So you just kind of cope with that, and you're just sitting back hoping something happens up front with everybody. And then I'm not sure what happened with Tony. Like I hate that ended his race. I really do. I like Tony a lot, and I mean, I don't think I did anything wrong, but at the same time, like, I know he was having issues in front of me. He slowed up a lot, and then I thought it was going to be an easy pass, and I don't know. I was looking at the replay. I felt like I kind of held my line. Yeah, I was tight on him, but I didn't feel like I felt like I held my line. So I'm sorry it ended his race, but like, I'm not sorry for the way I drove, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, and so I don't know. It was just a tough race. It was just more of a humbling experience. You practice a lot, and but hey, top 5's great, and team helped me out a lot. We were talking everything through, and then I had Jared helping me out tonight, just kind of keeping an eye on everything for me to give me the best advantage I could. So but yeah, just wasn't in the cards tonight, and happy with the team and proud of where we finished.
Yeah, I guess for what it's worth, we had the same exact assessment of your incident with Tony. We thought it was a driving incident, and just a very bad mix of lines. You were bringing a mini diamond. He was kind of like straddling the bottom, and it just didn't work out together. But I think all things considered, Kevin, an amazing season from you. You definitely, like you said, like, that was the one thing we were saying about you. Like, we wanted to see you go out swinging, and we wanted to see you not try some cute stuff and to go out on speed, and that's exactly what you did. And like you said, it's not always in the card. I know that about just as well as you do. But what a season. Any shout-outs you want to give as you look back at this one as a whole? And we do obviously have the commercial running right now.
Oh, thank you, Zach. No, just the admins. I know how much hard work it is doing this, so shout out to the admins. Congratulations to Grant, Colin, and Tony for racing up here. I know Jordan would have been up there too if he would have had the full season. But yeah, shout out to everyone's involved, all the guys that show up every week to make this league possible, especially the broadcast, you guys, and everyone behind the scenes. Like I always, you guys, just thank God for having us here and being able to race with you guys. And just thank you for my wife, and just thank you for all the little things. Just making sure you guys appreciate everything, because you never know when stuff can be taken away from you that quick. We're kind of going through some stuff right now with my parents, so just appreciate what you guys have. Love say hi to your friends and call your parents, because you never know when it might be the last time shit happens. So yeah. Oh, sorry, Zach.
Damage is done. Okay, we've already talked the call. Damage is done.
Okay, gotcha. So, but that's it, man. That's it. Just appreciate you guys. It was a pleasure to race with all you guys out there on the track, and looking forward to next season and what it brings.
Well, thank you, man, and congratulations on the season. Your family is in our thoughts and prayers, and I hope for nothing but the absolute best. And I could not agree more that stuff does hit you in the face, especially as we get to this age. So thinking about you, man, thinking about your family, and congrats on the season. Hope this was a good distraction from the annoying things we have to deal with in real life. But love you, man, and
sure.
Great job all year, and thank you for everything you do for this league.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys too. Take care.
Great dude. Me and Gene wish things could have been a little bit differently for him, but I think it was one of those Final Fours where it was a win-win-win-win-win. All deserving drivers.
Yeah, he gave it a shot. I mean, he had that speed there after that second fuel run, but I think once those boys got to that point where they knew that they could turn it on, that track position. Kevin also talked about that with me a little bit. Was having a strong car there at the end. We did see him get into a little bit of contact with Iverson. He didn't take the time to repair it, but even when iRacing says you have no damage, sometimes
I agree,
car just doesn't work.
Just doesn't feel the same. Well, you got one more guy to talk to, me, Gene. That's another champion.
Oh, Joe. See if we can.
Yeah, let's see if we can get him.
Track that
man down. He's probably reviewing something. That's
he probably
his
is.
Thing. No, he dipped.
Oh no,
Yep.
he dipped. All right.
He dipped. That's fine. Let's wrap her up, baby. So, after that amazing race we saw at Kentucky, we are crowning our season 5 champion, and that's going to be Grant Applegate. No official announcement as of yet. We'll announce it next year as far as who the Rookie of the Year will be, and that'll be fun because do you give it to a Jordan Fisher who did have full-time status with his starts, and had the most wins on the year, or do you give it to Grant Applegate, who wins a championship? So glad I'm not the guy that has to make that decision as they come up on next year. That is going to be our final Monday night Mayhem race. But remember, Mondays are double headers. And next week, of course, we will still be running the DDI Racing League ARCA series. And that will be back next week. Now, the track, fun story here. They did a driver vote to see which track it would be. And right now, they're deadlocked with IRP and Nashville Fairground. So that'll be curious to see which of those two tracks is going to win in the vote off.
Go IRP, Mean Gene. Go IRP.
Go IRP. I love it. So if you pull up the VRN schedule, it's a little crazy because it's the holidays.
Yeah, it is.
So right now, Monday night Mayhem. This was our final race of season 5. So next week, not going to be back. DDI will, of course, because it'll be at the IRP/Nashville Fairgrounds. Big Trucking Tuesday off for 2 weeks. We won't see them again till January 6th in the new year. Thursday Thriller season. They are currently in their off season, waiting to see exactly what Steve Fugay and gang will come up with for that series come next season. Also, all of those announcements involving the truck series will be brought in later in the year. Saturdays, of course, they are off for a week as well, so we won't be having that MRL sister broadcast league. And Sunday also won't be back till January 4th as they are on a 2-week vacation, waiting to see how the playoffs will continue to develop as we see Landry facing off with David Medina. Also strong runs from plenty of other drivers in that league. And then DDIRL, how many more races are there in that Monday night series? 3?
2 more, Mean Gene. We got that driver's vote, and then we got a full-length 200-lap race at Phoenix. And starting next week, since we are no longer double header with this race right here, the races will no longer have a time limit. So not like that's mattered.
Are we going to go 100%?
We're going a little bit longer in the next 2. It's going to be a little bit longer of a race. No time limit to worry about. The drivers have showed so much respect. We went completely caution-free today over in the DDIRL over at Kentucky at the same racetrack. So doubt it will affect too much, but we got 2 marathons of races coming up and a really, really tight points battle over in that league as well. And like you said, things getting figured out over in the truck side of things over on Thursday, and then DDIRL gearing up to announce their Wednesday truck series. So definitely subscribe to the channel and join all the Discords that we talk about, or reach out to any of us that you see in the comments or on any of these broadcasts, because big things are happening, Mean Gene. We won't give away too much inside baseball, but big things.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. DDRL expanding. They're going to keep that Monday series and go ahead and bring the truck series back, because that's where it all started. And we want to see some more of that. Speaking of wanting to see some more, you know what? Let's do a KK Woodscape with the volume. I want to hear it.
Let's hear it, Mean Gene.
I want to hear it.
I actually haven't heard it yet, so I'm excited to hear this.
You haven't heard it? Oh, man.
Let's see what this
Here at KK Woodscapes, we only work with the finest woods, the finest tools. We sand the wood here at KK Woodscapes. We stir the paint with a wooden stick here at KK Woodscapes. And then we brush the wood with a wooden brush here at KK Woodscapes. And when it's all said and done, we have these perfectly manicured nails. Put the plaques in the trophies, in the envelopes, ship them to your box, and on your way to you to commemorate your special day. Got wood, KK Woodscapes.
His nails looked really good.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what. No, all jokes aside, KK Woodscapes, I mean, these dudes are just bringing plaques wooden plaques, gonna last for years, that you can use to celebrate championships. You can bring that in for your fantasy football, for your sports leagues, anything that you're doing. KK Woodscapes can accommodate your needs. Speaking of, let's give that big shout out, Chantilly Lace. Chantilly Lace, of course, sponsored us all year long, primary sponsor of Monday Night Mayhem here on the Vortex Racing Network. Big thanks to Brandon and Krista Guerin. 3 locations there on the East Coast: Charleston, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Savannah, Georgia as well. 30 employees, 18 years of experience. That's just for the business, but you put together all of those 30 people, you're talking about hundreds of years, thousands and thousands of hours of experience there. And this is not just for photography. This is for all of your family events. You want to memorialize the engagement party, a graduation, any type of sports award ceremony, a bar mitzvah, a quinceañera. You want to do any of these things, these people can help you. They also help set up the venue for you, lighting. Then they can put together the album as well to give you that beautiful keepsake that you will hand down generation to generation. So reach out, ask for Brandon or Krista, but all of those employees can help you. Chantilly Lace Photography, reach out and they'll be able to accommodate exactly what you need. Also, how about Kevin's new venture? Kevin Kyle now with his new t-shirt company as well, the old Sim and Destroy Racing. That ought to be pretty sexy. Have you got one of those shirts yet?
Not yet, but I was lucky enough to be a big part of getting them printed. I helped, I don't want to say guide Kevin, but help him out with the right equipment to make sure he is providing the highest quality apparel to his audience. And I know I'll have my hands on it soon. I'll probably just kill 2 birds and ship it with me with the trophies he owes me. But really, really exciting. I think above all, he's making some really unique and cool designs. I think it's something that a lot of people have been asking for, where it's, a lot of us want to wear the type of sim racing stuff, but not look lame, for lack of a better word. And Kevin's stuff is just really cool looking. It just looks really, really good. I'd wear it out anywhere. He's printing on really high quality t-shirts using really premium materials and machinery to get it done. So I could not say enough good things about what Kevin has done for the business itself and the mind behind it and just how much he cares.
Yeah, Kevin, big sponsor of multiple leagues and also behind the scenes here at the Vortex Racing Network. Really appreciate the work that Kevin puts in and love the opportunity to help give him some of the credit that he deserves. Zach, big race tonight. We got what we expected. We saw the showdown between multiple drivers, saw a little bit of contact as well. Final thoughts before we walk out of Kentucky?
Man, Mean Gene, like every year, I always end up trying not to get emotional in the last race, and they always seem to end so dramatically. I think that may have been our best championship race yet, just between all the drama, everything that happened. And it turns out the only championship 4 contender that was not involved with an incident with somebody else was the one who ended up crossing the checkered flag first. And I think the story of Great Applegate is just a really fascinating one, and what he had to do to even be having this opportunity to win this championship is to be admired, and how well he had to execute and how much adversity he had to fight through. And not to mention the guys he had to beat to get it done. The 3 of Iverson, Kevin Kyle, and our defending champion of Colin Bollinger. Just such formidable competitors. And I think one of the reasons why I just had the best time, besides just this being our first broadcast with the cover together, and just that this league will always hold a special place in my heart, and just what it means to me is just the amount of talent on the track day in and day out. I just love admiring these guys. It's one of the few leagues I'd say this all the time. I really want to be out there, me and Gene. I just like watching up here with you because these guys are unbelievable, and the shows they put on are incredible. I feel so fortunate every year to get to do this, and I cannot wait for the next season. And I hope to see even better field sizes. I hope to see the level of competition continue to grow, and I'm confident that it will. But for now, I just want to thank everyone who made this league possible. I want to thank you, Mean Gene, for being the best mentor that I could ever ask for, and everyone that makes this league possible and that gave me this opportunity 3 years deep, and it still feels like day one every day we get to do this. So I just, whenever these seasons end, Mean Gene, I'm just full of gratitude.
Yep. Well, I just want to break out in song. Feels like the first time.
Yep. It does.
So amazing finish to the year. My thoughts as we walk away from this are love seeing the league continue to grow. Would love to see a few more faces next year. We do have openings. So if you're watching this thing on the Vortex Racing Network, reach out to your friends. You know you got some buddies that I race. Let's see a little bit larger fields. Let's get some teams that solidified so we can start talking about team championships as well. Reach out, John Beverly. You can talk to Steve Fugate. You can talk to Joe Volpus, Zach Panzarella. All these admins will be able, Rich Swingle can all help you get in here and get into the Vortex Racing Network family, giving you that opportunity to get on the track. And hey, let's get in the booth. We can chat here as well. But where does it all start? It starts right there at that little button in front of you where it says subscribe, whack like, and we'll hit that share. Let's move this thing up. Final two thoughts for me are going to be, I appreciate you saying you'd love to be on the track, but you enjoy calling it more. Mean Gene, I love racing, but they got that iRacing cap, so you'll never see the likes of Mean Gene down there in the Monday Night Mayhem. Yeah, you know, they're keeping me out.
Mm-hmm.
Something about that iRating cap. Yeah. Number two, reach out to Kevin, because I got a great idea for a shirt. You could get the driver or the cars on the back for the Final Four, and then in the front you can put whose car are we going to take. I think we all know what quote that comes from.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, everybody likes that movie. Of course, I'm talking about The Town, where Renner and Affleck have that beautiful scene of we're going to go do some bad stuff, and we can't never talk about it again. Whose car are we going to take? Go ahead and sign it up. Big race and a big champion. Grant Applegate going to take it home. Congratulations to Grant and all the championship Final Four. On behalf of myself, Mean Gene Money, Zach Panzarella, all the boys back in the production truck, big shout out to our sponsors. Thank you so much to Chantilly Lace, KK Woodscape, Sim and Destroy Racing. Again, deepest thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Greg Biffle for his loss, and of course our friend Dennis Puckett. Dennis again lost earlier in the year, but the amount of lives that he touched and the people that he brought together that to this day make up this network, this umbrella under which we race for MRL, Bonfire, DDI. So many lives touched by Dennis, gone but not forgotten. Number 12. Thank you, my friend. You are remembered and you are loved. Dennis Puckett, lost earlier in this year. Thank you to our admins, and thank you to the fans at home. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast, and we will see you again next Monday as the DDI Racing League will have their final two races and will be at IRL. Thank you. Have a great night. And as always, bottoms up and hammer down.